Okay. I actually came prepared with a dad joke because we have to start everything with a dad joke.
Miracles happen.
It's not even a dad joke. It's just more of a dad statement.
Observation.
I grilled a chicken for 2 hours. It still wouldn't tell me why it crossed the road. Come on. That's better than y'all reacted to.
That was some tough chicken.
Some tough chicken. Welcome back, everybody. We are here. It's Wednesday night. It's the midweek hump. Welcome back. Appreciate everyone showing up. Those who might watch after the fact, and Static2020 for joining us tonight, sir. How are you doing?
Doing good. Ready for the week to get over so I can play some more video games and actually get into Avowed. I'm like 4 hours into it and I can't make my mind up on it yet.
We're going to talk about it. So hold your thoughts for now, but we'll talk about it.
Okay.
No, it's good to see what I mean, I don't even remember exactly when the last time you were on. It wasn't too long ago. It was probably
like
just
a couple
before
months.
Yeah. Just before we kind of stopped, I think.
It might have been like the second show back-ish.
Okay. Yeah. Because you were on, I think we maybe were short some people and were like, hey, come on. And you were, Well, welcome back, man. I'm glad we can just get you on the whole time, get you here all night.
Glad to be back.
Leave whenever you want. I don't care. That's fine.
The next 3.5, 4 hours.
Right. Hopefully not.
I like how we moved it back an hour and then we still went 3.5 hours last week.
I know.
Still up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Either way, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm up that late either way, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yep.
We get done. I just fire up Path of Exile and keep going.
I had to take a break from Path of Exile just so I didn't completely burn out. I
noticed. You convinced me to get it, and then you guys just all disappeared.
Well, it's not. Well, the reasons are deeper than I don't want to play with you. Obviously, it's more of a
tell the truth and shame the devil, Shags.
Yeah, no, I love that game, and I think it was because I've done so much and played so much that with the next, I'm going to jump on over the next month, but the next month will be a big. When that 0.2 update comes out, I'll be riding that train pretty hard because there's going to be an economy reset, and then I'm sure there's going to be other big additions to the game when that drops. So
they added a new addition yesterday. Now you can have a map tab in your.
Oh, I got it. I already got it. I went on and I moved all my maps from the other tabs into there. I'm all organized. But and the man of the hour with the AI profile picture. What's going on, Matt?
The Confederacy will rise again. That's a joke for a different stream.
Yeah. Damn. How you doing, sir? Just in time.
Doing good, man. Yeah, I was gonna come on camera, but I ran out of time.
Ran out of time for what?
Well, because you guys started.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
my balls are still damp here. You know what I mean? I hurried to get on here.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, get yourself dusted off. We'll do intros, and you can pop your camera on.
I'm already sitting down.
Oh, okay. I don't know why your balls would be visible
on the seat.
No, I was just letting you know, how recent my shower was. That you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, it was a shower.
Yeah, sometimes I dip them in soup just for the flavor, but this time I was like, let me
dip my nuts in marinara so you can get a taste of home.
Just for this.
Gross. I'm Irish. It's potato soup or nothing.
Yeah, potato soup is good, actually.
Potato soup is, especially on cold
Outback's
days.
potato soup is really good.
Yeah. Outback, it's funny. I don't know if it's funny, but just more of this realization as you grow up, the things you thought were good and gourmet, it just turns out it's just dog shit a lot of times. But I liked Outback back in the day, but now I go in there and I'm just I'm not touching anything because everything's sticky and the food is just, you look at it and you gain 10 pounds. I don't know.
I mean, it's authentic Australian, the Awesome Blossom.
Is that what they eat? Is that's
and the Foster's beer.
Yeah. Well, that's Australian for beer. So
Exactly.
that's how like in the South we all say Coke, but you can mean a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, okay.
All Pops Coke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless it's Big Red, then it's Big Red.
What's Big Red?
What?
You never had Big Red?
What?
Oh, it's like super
Red,
sweet.
red
like,
cream soda.
Cream soda, yeah.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like the sweetest, thickest fucking soda you can imagine. It's like literal sugar in a fucking bottle. It's ridiculous.
Think of carbonated cherry cough syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you add that with cocoa. What is it?
Cow?
No, it's a
Cocoa.
Mexican thing. And there's a song for it here in San Antonio. I don't know.
Cocaine?
It makes a great float though with orange sherbet.
It's weird that I don't know that, because Utah is like the soda or pop center of the world, because a large part of the population doesn't drink. So instead, most of these people just hook an IV of soda up to their vein. And
Isn't
like,
that kind
go
of
to
iffy because of the caffeine?
I'm
I'm assuming they're Mormon.
But they own,
Yeah.
don't they own the Pepsi and Coke companies now?
there is a Pepsi factory like in
Yeah.
Ogden. Yeah.
Uh,
It's just, they're so weird. Like,
I used
Dr.
to
Pepper
love
was
going to
made here.
business conferences. Yeah, Dr. Pepper's in Waco, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's who bottles Big Red. But I used to love going to business conferences where we would have the Utah contingent there as well, because like our company would pass out like 2 drink tickets. So we'd just like head over to the Utah area and be like, hey, what you doing with those tickets?
Like, you better not be doing anything with those tickets. It's like, that's how the,
I will buy your Coke in cash. You give me the ticket.
well, that's the old joke. Hey, you stop a Mormon from drinking all your beer when you go camping, you take 2.
do you guys remember Mitch Hedberg, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, of course, dude.
One of my favorite jokes.
Greatest stand-ups ever.
One of my
Wouldn't make
favorite
it today.
jokes he did was, he's like, Mr. Pibb is just a bullshit ripoff of Dr. Pepper. He's like, it's a bullshit ripoff because the dude didn't even get his degree.
I was listening to that the other night, that exact special.
I was like, oh my God, this guy's just fucking brilliant.
Rice is really good when you want 4,000 of something.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that dude's, rest in peace. Miss him. Anyways, what a tangent. This is why I love this show. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a bunch of people having fun talking about random shit.
I think part of the fun is trying to figure out the thread to how we got here.
Mad was
You know
in
what
the
I mean?
shower
Yeah.
and dipped his balls in something, and then we
potato
went
stew.
to
And that's how we got to Mr. Pibb being a
Outback.
fucking
Mr. Pibb.
we got to Outback from
Outback.
potato soup,
Oh, Outback potato. Yeah. And then
Foster's beer.
Foster's beer, and then soda and Pibb,
Yep,
and
big red and
Utah.
barbacoa.
Big Red. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And like, Utah is the soda capital of the planet.
Utah,
And-
and then
but they
Pibb, and
don't
then
drink.
Mitch Hedberg.
Oh,
Fucking
Makes
A.
sense. It's obvious
there's
through
that
line.
that supposedly, and I'm using air quotes here, that South African chick, Kite, that's on Zach sometimes. She has like a South African accent, but I didn't hear it until halfway through the stream, so I call bullshit. Anyway, on her channel, she does a thing where she will map out, do a whole diagram of conversations that people have on streams and track it to how it got to where it was.
Really?
Yeah. I would
She'd have
love to
fun
see
with
her try
us.
to. Yeah, I would love to see her try to keep up with this shit.
Very wild. Yeah. Anyways, guys, Jesse, we know what we don't have 20 minutes to really say, but
Rude.
how are you though, my friend?
I'm good. The baby is officially a month old today. She decided to throw up right as I was getting ready to come out here. So that was always fun. That's normally how that kind of thing ends up going. But yeah, just busy as a bee. Finally crossed 1,600 subscribers on the new YouTube channel. Got getting closer to 1,200 on Rumble. So yeah, doing all kinds of, made it to level 40 on Cyberpunk Monday night. That made me really happy. I'm loving that game. I absolutely love that freaking game. I don't want that game to ever end.
I've always wanted to like that game, and every time I play, I'll play like 2 hours, and I'm like, I actually don't give a fuck about this
I
game.
hate first-person shooters
Exactly.
to begin with.
Well,
So-
it's not really a first person shooter. Like the only time, I guess the only time you're in first person when you're walking around and firing.
Yeah,
So
I
I guess
hate
you can
that.
argue it's a first person shooter, but like, I don't know. I don't like FPSs like Call of Duty and shit like that, but this kind of thing doesn't bug
don't
me
either.
because it's not just first person shooter. You can like literally hack people's brain from like halfway across the map and like neutralize
But
them.
you do it from first
So-
person.
Okay.
You don't like.
Guess
So
you don't
what
like
you
the first person
mean?
perspective.
What
You don't
I
like the
mean is-
first person
What Matt is,
perspective.
he's
Sorry,
like
the
first
first person perspective. You can see the
Okay.
confusion when you said, well, you're in first person when you're shooting. But other than that,
Well, but you said you didn't like first person shooters.
right. Well, sorry. I don't like the first person perspective.
Perspective.
Okay. That's
It
yeah,
feels
I
like the
can
camera
understand
is in your mouth. You can't see your feet. It's not natural.
that. I think I can,
All true.
I think I can see. I don't. Do you see
I
your
always
feet
felt
when you're
like
looking straight forward?
Yeah, bro.
Whenever I played Destiny 2, I felt like I was like 3 feet tall.
Well,
You can't see your
what the
feet
fuck?
right
How
now?
big are your fucking? How fucking clown shoe of a feet do you have that when you're looking straight forward and not down, you can see your feet?
Well, I mean, you can't see your feet, but you can see your feet. Does that make sense?
That's what I'm saying. I get what you're saying, but like you can look
Well, when you
down
look
in
down.
Cyberpunk and see your feet.
Well, no, it's
That
not.
is-
The no, you have no perception of your sides, of like your left and your right, and you can't just turn your head real quick like you can in real life.
Hmm.
And I hate it in shooters, military shooters, because you always have your gun up. I hate it. Every time someone walks in front of me, it's just so natural for me to want to put that fucking thing down, but you can't in first person, and it just bugs the shit out of me.
You should go play Arma. It's a military sim game, and then you can enjoy all the fun of.
Is it in first person?
You could play third person. You can.
Can you? Because I think I got that game.
You should see Mad play the police simulator game. He's like that registration that registration is out, and writes the first ticket, and then he's walking around the car and he gets like 30 other things. He's like, I know the codes for all of these, so I can write them.
I'm planning on playing it again soon.
Meanwhile, some guy's robbing the bank across the street, and Mad's like, nope, this is traffic violation first.
Okay, first of all, it wasn't my zone, bro. I was area 3. That was clearly in area 2. That's that patrol.
Dude, that is spoken so like a true fucking cop, dude.
Oh.
Not my fucking problem.
I love the dudes that would hear traffic from officers, right, on the radio and immediately pull a traffic stop before he can be dispatched.
That's fucked. Oh, that is great. But yeah, I love that game. It's a lot of fun. Been having fun, keeping busy, grinding
I
out
don't-
videos, doing live streams. It's fun.
Wait, Delta Force and Armada, is that the same thing or no?
No. As Arma, no. Arma is
Are
like literally a military sim. Like, so there's Arma Reforged, which people have been playing a lot recently, which is somewhere in between like Squad and Hell Let Loose. Arma 3, Arma 2, it was meant to be like hyper realism in the way that like the NPCs are extremely dangerous. Like you need to be like very like even
Yeah,
like flying
aware.
the vehicles and everything and driving them is really difficult. DayZ was all based on that
fucking
engine.
game. You know, I saw a man kill another man for a hat,
Yeah, it's brutal out there.
for a cowboy hat.
Towns are tough nowadays.
No, it's a whole bit. Have you ever read the reviews like on Xbox? If you go to the store, on Xbox store, and look up World War Z, there are all these crazy stories about. So I started the game. I got knocked out, tied up, taken to a house where I had to eat my best
Oh.
friend.
Yeah. Steam reviews. The
Yeah,
best.
man.
Oh, I love those. Yep.
More entertaining.
One for
than the
Green
game.
Hells. The Green Hell reviews are fucking awesome. They're so good. But yeah, DayZ is a struggle if you're not into that. Like, if you're not into the survival like aspect of games, and then like the trolling aspect of it, you'll have a rough time. Brahma, what have you been up to, man, over this past week? Lots of live streams.
Lots of streams, lots of work, and lots of Path of Exile. I've got like 3 characters up around level 80 now mapping, so
Hell yeah.
I was
I
gonna
got-
get it, but I feel
I
like
got
it's
all the
no
uniques.
use.
Oh, I can get you up and running pretty quick, or I can start a new character with you, Mad.
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
This isn't like the time
Well-
this isn't like all those times you make me buy a game, I play once, and then you're done with it. Is it?
Yes, I'm
This
the
is-
one known for that.
This is what you should do.
That's
You
Shags.
should wait a month, and then everyone will be back on playing, and the economy is going to reset, so everyone will be back at zero. Just wait a month till the new update comes out, and then get it in play.
Alrighty.
Oh, the first one's free.
Yeah, the first one has been out for like 10 years. It's 100% free. It's
just another update.
It's still only $30. That's not bad.
yeah, no, it's a good buy. You have to like ARPGs though, and you have to like something like
So what's the difference
Diablo.
between like an ARPG and a regular RPG? What's the difference?
Diablo versus Final Fantasy.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like action
I've never played
RPG.
Diablo. I've seen. Okay.
JRPG. Diablo
Yeah, and like Final
Skyrim.
Fantasy is like, I mean, depending on which era of it is mostly like JRPG,
Mhm.
Right.
in which
Which
is
is like the
you know,
turn
a lot of
style,
turn-based. Yep.
turn-based.
And
okay.
then, but yeah, this is an action RPG, so it's usually isometric, top-down.
Yeah, the
Oh, so you can run around and do like hack and slash and throw all that kind of stuff. So like,
And the
like
RPG
WoW
part-
was like that, right? And that's kind of similar.
WoW
vein.
is a massive multiplayer online
online.
RPG.
but
So
that's
Yeah,
the
but it's like
RPG
so-
portion of it is you get experience and you level up and you can alter your character in ways.
I just was never sure between like all the different, because I've heard the different ARPG and like JRPG, and I was like, I never was sure what the difference between all the different ones were. I
Mhm.
played all the different versions. I just didn't know what the difference was.
Right. What were we gonna say, Static?
I was just say the World of Warcraft's not asymmetric like Diablo 4.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a third person.
Oh, okay.
What was that other game? Everclear? Not Everclear. What was it called? EverQuest?
EverQuest.
EverQuest.
Yeah. When I was in the aeronautics school in Tulsa, one of the guys we hung out with, he would make money off that game. He would find a sword and sell it on, I don't know, 2002 internet, however you would do it back then. I have no idea.
Dude, I had one of the guys in my shop in the Air Force that's what he did. There was I don't remember the name of the game. It wasn't WoW, but it was some other kind of like the multiplayer online ones. And that's what he would do. He'd grind characters out to like level 50 or level 60 or whatever and sell them for like fucking $300-$400.
Yeah.
Like people just, kind of like what Elon did with Path of Exile. That's what he would do. He'd grind the games and then sell the characters off. He'd sell the username and the password off. And now you got you a level, whatever character without having to fucking do anything.
Soul Assassins calling out Mad.
For what?
Good.
Conan Exiles. Mads got the game, played a bit, then someone, I forget who, had better stuff, and Mads was like, to hell with this.
Okay, that is such a misrepresentation of what happened. Here's what happened. I said, guys, I'm going to be the one that makes the goblins or zombie or whatever the fuck.
Golems.
Okay, golems, right? Brahma said, no, I don't know why I'm giving him the voice of Akumbe. Not Akumbe, what's his name? Matumbo? But he's like, not in my house. And he made them all before I ever had a chance to research it.
That was 3 weeks later. And I had started from scratch that day.
This
Never-
is not what happened.
Never play a game with Brahma like started. He has
No.
all day long to do this, and no one else does.
It's crazy he has more time to play than I do.
And that's saying
And I've got a job.
exactly.
Well, you have a job that you can play as you quote unquote work.
Work. That's what it's like to be the owner.
You're just like, hello, do you want insurance? No, okay, bye. And then you go to the next level. Like, hey,
No.
would you like insurance? Okay, bye.
I've got 2 assistants for that. So that I can sit here and do nothing.
Jax, are you concentrating or are you frozen?
Oh, he's frozen.
He's frozen again. He still hasn't
We're-
wired up his internet.
We're past 15 minutes in. He'll freeze every
Yep.
5 minutes from here out.
I mean,
Yep. The rest of the show.
just get 100-foot cable and the Ethernet cable and just run it through your house. Put signs up. Hey, pick your feet up when you're walking. That's all you got to do.
Yep. Dude, my 1-year-old who crawls around the house knows not to touch the Ethernet cable that's running across the floor of the house. Like,
Look, it took my girlfriend a couple of months to figure it out. Every time she left the bedroom, not to pick her feet up, but she
Want it?
learned. It's all about the stick.
The
my 1-year-old
problem
figured it
is
out.
I don't know if it's the I don't know if it's the fiber that's fucking up and causing the internet to dip every now and then, because everything is affected in the house. So I don't know if it's the router that's fucked and like not sending the signal, because my house isn't big. I don't live in like a mansion. Like,
How long have
this
you
should
had
have-
the router?
Oh, 2 years maybe.
Is it
3
one that
years?
you own, or is it one that came
Yeah,
with
I own it.
the
Yeah.
service?
I own it.
That could be part of the problem.
Yeah.
This is going to sound silly, but you're not on a laptop, are you?
Oh,
I said it was going to sound silly.
yes, I'm not on a laptop.
More often. More
This is
often
what
than
happened.
not,
Look, if
though,
you
when
call
have-
tech, because minus the accent, this is what they would be asking you.
Have you unplugged it?
I don't think I've ever had them come on a lap. I never think I've ever had them ask me if I was on a laptop or not. But yeah, dude, it's most of the time it's been hard. Most of the time it's just like, because that used to happen to me when I was on Wi-Fi trying to do stuff off a laptop or the PC. As soon as I started streaming, I was like, no, this thing's got to be hardwired in. Like, it's not going to work otherwise, because you're going to get dips and stuff like that.
Have you checked for firmware upgrades on the router since it's 2 or 3 years old and you own it?
I have not. So maybe that.
Have you
There's a
unplugged all
Good
the
chance
plugs?
there's
in-
been some firmware upgrades.
Don't laugh at me,
Yes,
Mr. I don't know what a fucking ARPG is.
Motherfucker, you can't get your internet to operate right. Don't start with that shit.
Have you tried unplugging everything and then blowing in it really hard and then plugging it back in?
I almost never. I mean, the reason is that I don't usually use Wi-Fi. Like, because of streaming and stuff, it's almost always plugged in. Life has been a little complicated. Getting 100-foot fucking wire run through my attic and then down in the wall is not at the top of my priority list.
That's why you
So-
just run it through the freaking house.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah. Thank you, Mad. Yeah.
You can
I'm
even
going to
get
work
those.
out 3 times a week, but can't take one of those days to run a damn cord.
You can get those
There you
mats.
go.
You can get those mats that go over it, kind of like just like a little.
This will be fun. No, I'm sorry. I want to hang out with Static. It's gonna be the Static and Shag show. Damn it.
I was given legitimate advice about the mats, the rubber mats that you can put over it, like at the doorway, so that people don't trip on the cord.
Right.
Boom. Problem
And they
solved,
get some
man.
of those wet floor signs too, and just put them in down the hallway.
Hey, I know in our shops we had we had the little hump things. You could flip it open. You could lay your cords down inside of it and then flip the lid back over, so that way you didn't have to worry about anybody tripping over cords.
Staple it
Just get
to the wall like a fucking Christmas lights, man.
Guys, why the fuck didn't I think of this?
I don't
I'm
know.
so glad
That's
I got
what
a
we're
group.
here to help with, Shags. We're just trying
retards
to help you,
me
buddy.
with
That's all
this.
we are.
Glad I
We
could
are a bunch of
employ.
retards. There's no doubt about that.
Troubleshooting.
But hey, welcome. What's that say about you, man, Shags?
I can do it in the Indian accent, but it's gonna go Italian quickly.
Great. Now I just need $275 in Walmart gift card. You give to me. No, bitch! Don't do that.
I was about to bring up the same video of the dude that was trying to scam her. He's like, "Why did you?"
Oh, Mad froze too.
Thank
No,
you
I'm
for
right
calling. My name is Kenneth. I am located in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, oh yeah, you know what? He's probably one of them Visa fucking with a B Visa thingies or whatever that everybody was arguing over like a month and a half ago. He probably actually is in Ohio.
Now, maybe.
Easily the best. Like, those are like the best videos. Like, go
Yeah,
around.
I like them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, let's get into a little bit of.
All right, well,
Little
fuck
bit of
my
shit.
intro.
You already did your
You
intro.
got
You want to do
a
another one?
20-minute
You're the
outro,
first one.
not an intro.
And
I didn't do
Yeah,
an intro at all because I was going to say, hey, started my new channel, Mad's new channel, under 50 subscribers, which is very embarrassing for as great and talented as I am. It's embarrassing. And I put all of that on you, chat. That's not my fault. That's on you.
Oh, he
Except for
was-
like
Get over there.
the ones that have already subscribed. Having a great time over there. We're doing Madapaps, which is like Madfaps, which EFAP stole from me. Originally, it's a whole big thing. It's every paragraph a pause. And last night we did the story about Dr. Brinkley, who would take goat testicles and insert them into man testicle sacks to get them hard again. It did not go well for the goat or the man.
Weird.
The millions of men who had that surgery.
Yes, it was insane how many people had that surgery. But yeah, it's there on the channel. We got that one. We got a few other great stories. Shags was invited last night, but
right in the middle of bedtime. You invited me. Can't do it.
I remember it.
Listen, you only have you have a very short window with your kids where they want you unconditionally. And then it's gone. Then they don't want you anymore.
Oh yeah. What about the YouTubers that want you unconditionally?
Well, hopefully in about 10 years they'll still be knocking on my door. Who knows?
I mean, I heard that Shags had told Mad, F you, Mad, and F your channel, especially Soul Assassin.
That's what I heard too.
Oh, I would never say that about
here's
Soul
here's
Assassin.
the real secret, Shags. You just keep having them and you never lose that.
No.
Oh my god.
I eventually
Convert
want
to
to get my life.
Catholicism.
I'm a Southern Baptist. What are you talking about?
You're pretty
I
close.
mean, your logic isn't entirely flawed. I mean, you have like babysitters built in, like eventually.
Oh yeah. Dude,
You know.
that's the best part, dude. The 1-year-old goes out and plays with like the 12-year-old and the 8-year-old and the 4-year-old out in the living room. You ain't got to worry about nothing, man. It's great.
Yeah.
Even
Even
they
though
can't do is
like
change their diapers.
the size of the family you have is essentially a commune, which is everything that you're against. So you're just a
No,
massive
I'm
hypocrite.
against the communist. No. That's the thing. Dictatorships only work inside your house. Your household is a dictatorship. Mommy and daddy decide everything. The children get no say whatsoever.
you
Stop pointing at your dick when you say dictatorship.
Daddy decides.
I'm
Social
pretty sure you
being
can.
because you have to share your fucking wealth with the children so that they
Yeah, see? Exactly.
I'm pretty sure you can stretch it out to a cul-de-sac, maybe a whole block. By the way,
All things
I like
in
it.
time, Mad. All things in time.
I like how Static said common nerd's wealth.
My children are my wealth. What are you talking about? They're beautiful gifts from God. They make me happy every day and frustrated and screaming. And yeah, it's great. I love it. We went to
Okay.
church tonight too. It was a great time.
Nice. So we're gonna our first little story, our first little piece of news involves Twitch, and I don't know. I saw the news quote tweeted from a streamer called Excessive Profanity, who I used to watch a decent amount, and his whole shtick was that he would get mad and swear all the time at games, but he was good at them. I used to watch him play like Metal Gear Solid, those games all the time.
wonder how much time he put into workshopping that idea. An angry gamer?
I know, strange concept.
That aside, his take on this particular news, Twitch is limiting the amount of uploads and like highlights that you can have starting 2 months from today. So the 19th of April, you'll only have 100 hours worth of storage to use. So I didn't think that this was a big deal. Like, to me, this, like, they gave you ample time to pull this stuff down and like throw it up on a YouTube channel, which arguably could make you more money. Less than a percent, 0.5% of streamers exceed the 100 hours. So like I said, I don't think that this is a huge deal. This guy was super pissed that it was even happening.
yeah. I would say they're going broke.
Yeah, they are. Twitch is going broke. This is just another example of Amazon trying to cut costs.
Right.
And they've
Server
got
storage.
AWS for the backbone for Twitch. Like,
It's not like they don't have plenty of server space. They just don't want to spend it on Twitch, a product that's not making them any money.
And it is pretty weird that somebody who's in the less than 0.5% is being the loudest and angriest about it. We've never seen that in any other category in this country.
He
All right.
he might be part of the higher percentage because he does. I haven't seen his stuff on YouTube. Maybe he has a YouTube channel, but anything I've ever seen him do or talk about has always been Twitch related. So he very well could be using the platform in this way that puts him close to or over that. But again, I don't know for sure. What were you gonna say, Matt?
Oh, I wasn't paying attention at the beginning of this, so I was like, okay, wait. So right now they have unlimited stores like what we have on YouTube, but now they're limiting it.
No, like if you're partnered, I think you have quite a bit, and then if you're not partnered or if you are just affiliated, you only get like your videos are deleted after a certain like 30-day period or something if you don't do anything with it. they just remove them, which I don't know. That again makes sense to me. If it's not there, if it's taking up space and not doing anything, I don't know. Again, maybe I'm not that sentimental with this. Maybe I need to be more sentimental. But
No.
like,
No,
if
it
you
sounds
really
like-
go ahead.
Well, it just sounds like to me somebody that doesn't want to have to mitigate or do any kind of work to, I don't know, move his stuff somewhere else. So if somebody wants to catch the replay, they can go watch it somewhere else. You know, they don't have to watch it on Twitch. It's like, dude, that's just the way things are. You want to get mad about it? Great. I'm sorry you're too lazy to upload anywhere else besides Twitch, where you just hit the button and go. You know, like, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this all just seems like perfectly reasonable in my opinion.
By go,
And
do
I
you
get
mean
Twitch-
play somebody else's video and then wait for chat to entertain themselves?
How is that? Whoa, who is that? What fat piece of shit was the one that was doing that? I'm having a brain fart now. It's been so long.
No, Hassan's not fat. He's stupid.
Oh, it was Hassan Piker. See, that was the first name that came to my head, but I
mean, they
couldn't
all
remember if it was
do it.
him or that fat slob on whatchamacallit.
Gosh.
But Vosh, yeah, maybe that was no,
Vosh
it was the
doesn't
one
do
that
that.
hosts that show. Show. He's always leaning
Ethan?
back and all slumped down in his
Review type?
Huh? Which one?
Review
He's
tech?
always sitting down in his chair, like all leaned back like this, like and with his fucking big old fucking belly fucking sticking out like a piece of shit, talking about the news and stuff like that. He lost all his sponsors a while back, and he was like, "I won't
DPS?
because of your members."
Sounds fatphobic to me.
Ethan
Yes.
Klein.
Yeah,
Ethan Klein. Klein's the one I'm thinking of.
He's
Klein.
not fat anymore.
Oh, did he lose
Yeah,
weight?
he got skinny.
yeah. I don't think he was ever.
And then he
known for
went
that,
after
was he?
Hassan.
He
Hard
had a
too.
big old pot belly because he like slouched down in that fucking chair and was like leaning all the way the fuck back, and you could just see that fucking belly fucking sticking out. That's like literally the only thing I know about that guy because I don't.
He just
fucking
did a
watch
great
any of that
video on
bullshit.
Hassan.
Yeah.
Strongly
I
recommend
heard that shit was fucking going kind of wild, and then there was an article from I can't remember The Verge or somebody that was writing one about Hassan, how Hassan was the Democrats' answer to Trump or some shit like that.
To Joe
it.
Rogan.
CNN fucking
To
did that.
Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CNN
Yeah,
had him
yeah.
on.
Yeah, I was like, what? And then like I saw somebody on Twitter post pictures of him in like a furry maid's costume, and I was like, yeah, okay.
That's about right.
That guy's really going to appeal to mainstream common sense folks out there.
Well, apparently there was a new podcast that everybody is describing as anti-Trump podcast just dethroned Joe Rogan as the #1 podcast.
On what platform?
Spotify.
So here's the thing. Joe Rogan has been like the top spot for like 10 years running. So they didn't dethrone shit. Like
Yeah.
they didn't dethrone anything. What's up, Riken? What they did was they happened to have a good week and a bunch of people listened to him. And honestly, Joe kind of fluctuates depending on who his guest is anyway.
Yeah,
Sometimes he's got a good lineup and whatever.
Yeah, Joe's numbers all depend on who his guest is literally what it comes down to. So it's like I guarantee you they'll never beat Trump the numbers that he had with Trump when Trump was on. You know what I mean? They'll never come close to sniffing those numbers.
My favorite meltdowns right now is Kyle Kalinske like screaming about Joe Rogan, him being like this asshat or whatever. Like, dude, you were on, like he had you on his fucking podcast. Like he has everyone on his podcast. You were there on the biggest platform in the world. And so what does that make you, bro? Like, because he keeps calling him like a fucking Nazi sympathizer. And
Well, I love that they keep going, well, we've got to find our own Joe Rogan. And it's like, you had your own Joe Rogan. His name was Joe Rogan.
Yeah. You just left him.
Yeah.
What like Geeky Sparkles put out a tweet today, and it's the same one that's been kind of floating around, and it's that meme of like, you think I'm radicalized. I'm not radicalized. You have just been pushed so far to the extreme that you now think I'm a radical, even though their politics haven't changed in 20 years. You know what I mean? It's just that the mainstream of the left-wing thought has just moved so far to the fucking insanity realm that anybody with common sense that might be a liberal with common sense is like, you're a Nazi, So it's gone extremely insane.
Riken, what's new with you, man? Thanks for joining.
Not much. Kind of same old going on right now. Nothing new at the moment.
Did you stream today?
Yeah, I got a little bit of Hunt Showdown in today. Played a little bit of that Monster Hunter Wild beta. So
Cool.
It was really good. So I'm excited for that to come out next week.
Good
Gonna
shit.
play a lot of that.
Nice. Well, let's use that since you just mentioned video games. Let's pivot a little bit into Avowed.
I knew this was
Avowed's been in the news because I think it's the latest target for people to just to sort of like say, hey, this game is gotten bitten by the woke bug. It's you know, they have their thoughts on the dev teams. It is made by Obsidian. Obsidian generally has done well with their games. I think an important note about Avowed is that one of the pitfalls of it too is that it is part of an established universe that I think there's a decent contingent of people that they don't understand it or know it. So this is part of the Pillars of Eternity, which is a CRPG, if I am right. It's a turn-based I honestly don't even know. I've never played it, but I know that there's a whole bunch of established lore in Pillars of Eternity and Pillars of Eternity 2 that really help in understanding what's happening in Avowed. Because Avowed is a first-person RPG.
It can be third person.
It can be third person. That is similar to, like, it's a somewhere in between Skyrim and the Outer Worlds. So it's not giant open world. You can't just go everywhere. But there's a lot of detail in this world. I don't particularly care for the color palette of the game, but it's
I
what
just
I've
got this
played
new
so
armor
far.
and it is so bad. It's so fucking bright.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, but again, I am not familiar with this world.
Nope.
The interesting part about it is that, again, the gameplay is actually fun. There is lore in there that I'm interested in as I pay more attention to it and I read the like little books and lore tidbits throughout the world. And I'm still getting a grasp on like how I want to play the game. I wanted to play like kind of a sneaky beaky type of guy, but that doesn't really exist in this game. Like you kind of have to pick some form of like,
You're famous.
yeah.
You can't really sneak around.
Yeah. So like, but like there, you can spec into like getting more damage from like while you're sneaking,
Yeah.
but it doesn't come till later. So I'm gonna have to change up how I'm playing. And but it's fun. It's not how I see people talking about it is that it's not good, it's gonna fail, or it's already failed. I don't think so. I guess I'm cautiously optimistic with it because I don't know. It's
So
actually
anyone out there trying to say that it's failed is not taking into account that this is on Game Pass first
Game
day.
Pass.
Like,
well, which is one other reason why
Actually-
it'll fail. Game Pass hurts it because you have say they only spent $80 million producing this game, right? Say they only
I think it's
$80
been
million
proven that Game Pass doesn't hurt these games, by the way. Just
but it
real
doesn't.
quick.
It also doesn't make you any money. That's
Well,
like putting because it's the Game Pass is nothing different than Disney Plus and
Right.
and Max.
Actually,
and all these
hold
other
on.
streaming
I'm gonna-
services.
I'm gonna push back on that.
Okay.
I just signed up for Game Pass because Avowed was coming out Sunday.
boom.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
and
So
got to think about it too. It's like I believe Microsoft owns Obsidian,
They do.
so this is
Yeah,
just
they
another
do.
reason for people to get Game Pass. So it helps Microsoft, which in turn will help Obsidian.
And
right, but at how much Static? How much did you pay for Game Pass?
What is it? It's like the $12 or something.
12
Okay,
Okay, so
Game
how much
Pass,
is
yeah.
Shags? How much did the game cost? How much does the game cost on Steam?
So I pay for PC Game Pass. I paid the
Okay.
$25 to play it
So-
early.
hold on,
So
real quick. No,
it-
this
I-
is
my
important.
understanding
This
is
is
on
important, Jesse.
Hold
There
on.
was an article that came out on Forbes that broke down the actual numbers when it comes to player engagement, or how many players are playing, right? And they had to use like the previous games that were released in a similar way, the Indiana Jones game or what have you. And right now, it's a little lower than what they were probably expecting, but it's not doing bad. It's not doing good though. It's kind of like teetering right there at the mid, according
Well,
to the
it's-
numbers.
At $70 a pop, you would have to sell. Say they spent $80 million on this game. At $70 a pop, you'd have to basically sell 1.5 million copies of the game and to arguably at least recoup your money on it. That's not including marketing and stuff like that, right? If you have let's say, I mean, obviously Steam numbers aren't going to relate to Game Pass numbers, but let's say they're equal, right? So say the 18,000 people that were playing on Steam in the first 24 hours of launch to the general public, right, is the same amount of people playing on Game Pass. Okay. So now Game Pass, you've got 17,000 people playing at $12 a pop versus the 17,000 people that are playing on Steam at $70 a pop. Okay. So say, and like you said, it's coming out on Game Pass. It's cheaper to get it on Game Pass. You can't recoup your money at $12 a pop.
But Microsoft doesn't want to recoup their money, though.
You're also thinking that people are not paying for another month of Game Pass. I think one of the.
But you'd have to pay for 7 months of Game Pass.
But here's the thing: Microsoft is not trying to make money, though. What they're doing, they're getting away from the consoles, anyways. They want it to be this online thing, kind of like what Steam is. That's why they're doing Game Pass. For Game Pass to be successful, you have to have these day one releases like Avowed. They're doing it long-term goals in mind. So yes, they are going to lose money, just like they lost money on the actual console itself.
And it didn't work for streaming. Why would it work for Game Pass?
Because those are two entirely different things.
No, they're not. It's not.
They kind of are.
You spend $150 million making a movie or $150 million making a game. You cannot recoup that at $10 or $12 a pop per head. I don't think it just doesn't work.
Hold on.
Avowed is going to lose money by basic math.
Okay, but what you're not understanding, though, is you're looking at it in the immediate or in the return date, like the actual return on the profit, not what it does for the brand and for Game Pass, which they are investing everything in. They want Game Pass to succeed. For Game Pass to succeed, they have to have these type of deals, right? It's not as if they're not getting any money because you can get it on Steam and they don't come out with this and don't come out with that. Also, there's different versions and then you pay for DLCs. There's a lot of ways for them to recoup that money other than just straight day one sales.
Exile has been around for 10 years and it's been free the whole time, but it survives off of everybody paying for little extras. Well, I mean, the microtransactions. Go ahead.
Do we even know how much it costs to make Avowed?
We haven't got any official numbers yet. No, we're just talking like general estimates because I mean, you gotta think about it. Depending on how many years they spent, that's the big thing is how many years did they spend developing this game is kind of the big thing. And how large was the team, right? Are we talking Concord where it cost Sony $500 million to produce that game over a period of 6 years?
I don't think those numbers were ever confirmed. By the way,
well, between the purchase of the studio and everything else, like the math isn't exactly too hard to come up with on that one. And even if it's not even 500 million, what if it's 300 million? What if it's 200 million? Concord is still the biggest disaster in history. And it's like the math. I mean, it's like, well, it just feels like everybody's trying to make up excuses as to why this is going to succeed. Just like Disney tried to make up excuses as to why
Matt, stop. Hold on. And Jesse, hold on. It's a weird thing to say. Why? I'm not making excuses for it to succeed. Why are you making excuses for it to fail? Like, it's just as ridiculous.
I'm just saying that the math doesn't line up.
How many hours have you played of this game?
I don't care. I'm not going to play the game. Okay. But it doesn't, I don't have to play a game to know whether or not the math lines up. 20,000 peak concurrent players on Steam in your first 24 hours. Unless those weekend numbers.
I'm sick of that. Stop with that fucking bullshit.
It's
reused.
These are numbers. What else do you want to compare it to?
Stop
2 + 2 = 4.
No, but you're leaving out so many numbers though, Jesse.
What other numbers? We don't have any DLC for Avowed. We don't even know if the game's going to last past
you know what?
They
are fucking that up because it's been up for 3 days. Where's the goddamn DLC?
This isn't a Concord disaster.
No.
It's different. It's different than movies. It's different than that streaming service because if a game is good, you will stay subbed for years potentially.
Yeah, and the thing is we don't. And Kreenato's right. We don't have a budget. Like that's why I would like to know what the budget is behind this game. Because this game makes me think that the budget was kind of low. This is not. I know Pillars of Eternity was well received. People who play Pillars of Eternity and like that style of game, they like it. Disparity responded to my tweet today and said that he is really enjoying it because he understands the lore behind it. He understands who you are, all these different things that are happening. Like I do think this is more of a niche game than people realize. I don't think that this game will. It's definitely not going to fail in the way that Concord failed. It's not going to
That's
succeed.
the biggest failure in gaming history. Nothing's gonna ever fail like that.
It's not going to succeed in the way that like Skyrim succeeded. But I do think that there's some middle ground that they're playing with that like so. For example, this game it is a technical achievement in recent history, which it shouldn't be. It like every game should just come out and run. This game doesn't crash. This game doesn't have like crazy bugs. It's not like all of a sudden an NPC sticks into a wall and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like it.
Yeah, I played about 15 minutes. It was smooth as shit for me.
Shags, how many hours have you put into the game so far?
I'm like 6 hours in, I think, a little more.
Okay. Because I know they're doing like a 30 gig patch like here in a couple of days or something like that with a bunch of improvements and stuff like that. I remember reading about that this morning.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to improve, but I mean,
yeah, apparently it's according to the release, it was like a bunch of glitches and bugs and like just quality of life improvements. And I think they're going to buff your companions. I think
there was a patch yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that one.
See,
I thought it was coming out tomorrow. I thought it was coming out in a couple of days.
Fine to criticize. Like you could say like, oh, maybe they should have this stuff tested out a little bit more with the.
Yeah, it's definitely not as broken or buggy as Star Wars Outlaws. Like we would have seen all kinds of screenshots and stuff like that from it.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that.
No, me neither.
By the way, according to Grok, it says like between 80 to 150 million for production cost.
There you go.
But I think
that's Grok 3, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Grok.
But that's just it's kind of more guessing based off of
it's all kind of estimates, but it's no different than like you hear the Hollywood Reporter saying that Captain Black America cost $180 million to make. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could if you take into account all the tax breaks that they would have gotten from. I'm guessing they filmed in Georgia like they do all of theirs, so you could actually see them getting that budget down to 130. Vis-a-vis money moves
not after
here, money moves
reshooting
there.
the movie twice. You can't. No.
No, I'm saying, but what he's saying is if you like, it would be like rigging the numbers though.
Right.
So the cost is actually 400 million, but they were able to write off however
subsidies and
they were
writing
able to
it
write
off
off
here.
$220 million.
Oh, is that how much more they spent than the 130?
Oh, the original estimates were 300 million. So, and if anybody believes that the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline, when they said 180 million, we can go through the long history of all of them being wrong for like the last decade about the estimates that they've given out there before, because we got tax filings from the United Kingdom that prove that they were wrong. But like, I don't know. I like Avowed is so mixed with everybody. There's so much contingency over it online and stuff like that. 20,000 peak players. I'll be really curious to see how the weekend numbers are, right? Because weekend numbers are always the real knower, right? That's when everybody's off work and everything else.
Right.
And I'll be really curious to see what those numbers end up being.
It's increased by about 6,000 on Steam since leaving early access, which means for the weekend, you're going to see those numbers even higher.
What's going to be the real telltale is not, it's not the fucking weekend. You're going to watch this game over a month and you're going to watch the trend. That's what you're going to do.
How many people still play it?
Yeah, how many people are still playing after a month?
And this is probably like the worst time to put out this game, because like you have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which like is a really good game. You have Monster Hunter Wilds, which is coming out next week. I heard a lot of people were excited about the Like a Dragon Pirates Yakuza.
Oh yeah, the Pirates Yakuza one looks great. That looks like a lot of fun.
You got all these games that actually look good, and people have been wanting really good games lately. And Avowed to me looked just mediocre. I was like, I'll wait till that either drops in price or just after I play all these other games that I really want to play before I play Avowed. And that's probably going to be a lot of other people's mentality.
Right.
But yeah, that's the other reason why to get Game Pass is like to be able to just like have the game readily available without having to spend $60-$70 on it when I have like a bunch of other games that I want to play that are also going to be $60-$70.
Also on Game Pass too.
Doom comes out on Game Pass in like 2 months, so it'd be a reason to pick that up, like the new.
Yeah,
Doom.
March 14th, I believe.
Doom looks fun. I've been excited
Yeah.
to that one since I've seen some of the first trailers of that one. That one looks really good.
Yep. Like
So I don't know.
feel
There's
like,
just
I
ahead.
feel like if Avowed came out last year and during a time when like there wasn't just like a whole lot of good games coming out, it probably would have done really well.
I think too, the other thing we have to remember is we don't know like how like studios, I feel like, measure their successes with things a little bit differently. Their expectations for this game could be much different than like they might not be going into this thinking like, oh, we need to have like Skyrim numbers for this. You know, like, I mean, I'm sure every single company wants them to be playing their game for 10 years, but the expectation may have already been met or we're on the way doing so. I don't know. Like that's just me
Yeah,
talking.
it's not just pure
And the other thing-
units anymore.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like even with the legacy media out there, like all of them have basically given it like middle of the range. Like nobody's been like even like I said, the Access Media hasn't even been super impressed. I think IGN gave Avowed like a 7. The Gamer.com was like it's trying to be Skyrim, but it's really just kind of a mediocre version of it. It's kind of plain. Like those are the reviews I've been hearing from the legacy media, and that's not even bringing up like the people out there that do kind of culture war stuff and stuff like that, and how much they've been tearing the game apart. But then, like I said, I saw you post on Twitter about how you've been enjoying it. You're 6 hours in and you've been liking it and stuff like that. So it's one of those things. It's just like, I just don't think it's going to be a game changer. And and we'll have to, obviously it's be one of them situations where we'll have to wait till the quarterly reports come out to actually see, well, it performed under expectation. If they say it performed under expectations, that means the game was a flop.
I don't
But
know
it'll
if
be
it doesn't mean
quarter-
it's a flop. It means it's just under expectations. Like a
Shags,
flop would be that, hey, we got to fire the team. We're closing the studio, or not closing the studio. That's
In the
bad, but-
present moment, that's also important because again, this game there will be money coming in far longer than the first weekend that it came out.
we'll see.
I mean, we won't. We know
no,
there's
but
going to be
you
DLCs.
clearly don't know you clearly don't know corporate like retail like quarterly report wording and terminology, because if they say performed under expectations, that means it failed. Like that's their nice way of saying that. Like that's what Ubisoft said about Star Wars Outlaws.
Is that what
under
Obsidian say about?
expectations.
Is that what Obsidian said about the game? That is under.
I didn't say that. I said we have to wait. But if they say it performed under expectations, it's a flop. Because that's how the corporate speak goes. Because they can't come out to their investors and go, "Yeah, this game cost us hundreds of millions of dollars and completely bombed." Because that causes their stock price to go. If they actually say something like that, they can't say that stuff out loud.
Weird. You would think that the people that are investing in it would have figured that out, like you have. Like,
Static-
wait a
dude,
minute, they're
like,
saying that
have
it
you seen the
underperformed.
Disney
Guys,
investors?
guys,
Like-
guys, let's. I'm interested too, because I don't think Static has gone into it.
I don't have much of an opinion on it yet.
You fucking better, and it better
I
be
haven't-
aggressive and angry.
I'm at like I am at like 5 hours into this game
Get
right
angry.
now,
Thank you.
and
That's
I
what I
can't
meant.
get into the story. It just hasn't hit me yet. But I was going to give it the weekend and see what happened.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
glad they
there
let
you
me take off that gay shit they wanted me to put on my face.
Oh, I went all out with the gay shit on my face. I was like,
Right.
"Fuck it, I'm in."
go. Oh yeah, and they like hid the pronouns thing or something. Now it's like you don't have
Yeah,
to use
the
the
pro- I
pronouns
didn't-
option or something.
I didn't know what I was getting into. There was pronouns at the beginning. Whatever. Fucking.
Was
I
there?
haven't. No one's asked me to suck their dick or anything yet, so it's not a gay
Yet.
game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll
Uninstalling.
DMs later.
Shags at 2:00 in the morning. Static, will you suck my dick, man?
Static, you
Speaking of no
up?
one's looking. Anyways,
Avowed and chill.
Avowed
let's-
chill, yeah.
Ooh, let's swap that digital spit.
Avowed these nuts. I will say this game. I think it's perfectly fine to say it is middle of the road RPG. There's nothing entirely
Yeah.
special about it. That's why I was saying like it's kind of a weird niche game because it's a part of a universe that's established that I like normies won't get it. Like they'll be like, what's going on here? Like it does explain stuff, but there's a lot of things happening that
Right.
if you played the first two games, you will understand what is going on right off the bat. The onboarding to the story is lacking.
It's definitely one that I'm just gonna have an Audible book or a podcast playing in the background. Maybe have subtitles on, just so I don't fuck around and pick the wrong option if there are options. But I was very disappointed in somebody brought it up early in the chat, but the character creation, like, bro, I can't make my junk bigger. I mean, my forearms, my arms, nothing. Like there's no sculpting.
I just don't care about character creation
Yeah,
at all.
That stuff never
yeah.
really bugged me all that much either. But I mean, Dragon
Default.
Age: The Veilguard premiered to 70,000 players within their first 24 hours, and that game was considered a critical disaster.
What game?
Well,
And
there's also the difference there too is Dragon Age is a
more established,
very well
bigger-
established franchise
Yeah.
that people
That's true.
is beloved. I would not call again, Pillars of Eternity is a niche
Yeah.
franchise that people love, but it's
It would
not
be like a new Soul Reaver coming out.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But also,
not
how
that
many
many people played Legacy of Kain. I
Right.
mean,
It would
there-
be
Well,
like-
and it really comes down, like I said, it comes down to the budget. How much did they spend on this? If it is a niche game and they only spent $80 million or something like that on it, then they might be able to make a profit off
Don't
it.
you dare talk to
How
me.
many, how many people also played Dragon Age just
After
to see
last
how
night.
bad it was and then returned the game? Because those are a lot of returns in Dragon Age,
plays?
from what I
Oh,
remember.
Yeah.
So it's like you could say like, yeah, there were 70,000 people that played it like day one or the first week, but then you could also say there's like, but also a lot of those people probably returned to that game because they were just trying to see how bad it was.
The reality
like,
though is
it's
that
funny.
what devastated that game in returns is normies being like, what the fuck am I playing?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Well,
Influencers
even-
are a very small percentage of those
Mhm.
people buying and returning. It's like
Mhm.
everyone else who's like, what? Like I have
Well, even
what
like
choices?
even the gamer like gamer is one of those pretty much acolytes of the cult in a lot of cases, but they occasionally have like common sense takes on things. And they were like, Dragon Age: The Veilguard is so boring. You can't be mean to other players. Like everything's got to be nice. It was literally toxic positivity embodied inside of a video game.
This
It's
is a good
essentially what
point.
the gamer was saying.
EA was banking on Dragon Age, whereas Xbox isn't
Yeah.
spending that kind of money on this.
Yeah.
There was also the other point that Outer Worlds 2 is coming out later this year. Like that is probably going to be the game that they're leaning heavier into. So it's like you'll probably see a difference in quality. The Outer Worlds is really good. It's very similar to how this game plays. If you haven't played Outer Worlds, I would suggest it. It's fun.
I was honestly kind of disappointed with it. I was not a fan of it.
The
Like, it wasn't
expectation, I
bad, it
think,
wasn't great.
yeah. Oh well, that's why I think I felt the same way. I think it's a great game. It was underwhelming at the time. I'm looking forward to this second one because I think it's one of those like they've learned their lesson. They did well enough, but
And to
I
me, it
think
felt like we're just going to just throw this out there and then hope people like it. And then if people like it, then we're going to go big and into the second one.
yeah.
That is the perfect way to describe Outer Worlds.
Mhm.
I liked Outer Worlds. It wasn't
Mm.
special.
The game I'm looking for most, and I've talked about it a lot, but Kingslayers. It still says first quarter this year. I've been looking forward to. I'm even in their Discord. They ignored me, but I'm trying to be a tester.
We don't blame them.
But yeah, man, Kingslayer. Yeah, that's definitely one that people need to add to their wish list because it's a small little company or whatever, but developer, but it is looking good. Talking time travel, going back with like knights and shit, but you got a fucking AK-47 and a truck.
it's a first-person shooter
It's a third
in
person.
medieval times, or third-person shooter in medieval times.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you get to take your guns back and kill knights.
Have you not seen the trailer, Shags?
I have.
I saw
yeah.
it recently.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Professor Savage Dad has been a member for 10 months as Hail You Humpers, and apparently he wants the option to make a 27-inch dick. So sweet. Thanks, man. Maybe one day, maybe I'll make a game that'll allow you to. It'll be swinging dick simulator.
You
I
I
mean,
mean, then we're just living in reality.
Yeah. Outer Worlds is Fallout in space. It leans into that parody science. Yeah, it does a bit. Yeah, it does.
I don't know. I'm excited for the new what was it? Yusuke? Isn't Yusuke the new guy from Assassin's Creed Shadows? The Yusuke
Yasuke?
simulator?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yasuke. Have you guys seen the new Yasuke simulator? That looks great.
Yeah.
It's a real life depiction of feudal Japan, except you've got machine guns and a car. It's
Oh,
GTA
yeah.
in feudal Japan. It looks fucking great. It's coming out the
definitely.
same day as Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Definitely historically accurate.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Okay, we're just gonna keep going into the we're gonna argue some more. I talked about
Sweet.
this stuff this morning, so if people already
I saw your live stream title this morning. I was like,
I'm done sucking everyone's dick. I'm using my
Wait,
teeth
when was that
now.
going on?
I was gonna say, when the fuck did that happen? I don't ever remember that shit.
I'm getting toothy.
You've always been the little oh well, let me play devil's advocate here. Let me play
Man,
devil's advocate.
People need
here.
to start listening.
This is what I
because-
get for not hitting that bell.
So
I didn't even hit the bell when I stick at the fucking notifications. Fuck you, YouTube.
I was talking about
So-
the dick sucking.
Oh,
so the
I know
don't be
you're
a dick
gay.
sucker, says Melanie Mac. What was I talking about earlier? Well, that whole subject is the news or the controversy that's happened over the past few days is a YouTuber kind of got caught with his pants down a bit with just it was set up by someone else in with a story regarding the I don't even remember what it was about anymore.
It was about them delaying Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed again.
Delaying Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah, he fell for like JT fell for like a little fake, a little fake thing
Who
or
did?
whatever. JT
Smash
smashed.
JT.
Smashed
So
JT.
my point with the whole thing this morning, my rant this morning, and even my point of the whole thing is that when we're in this space and we're trying to, and you guys, I'll do my little monologue about this, and you guys chime in whatever you want. When we're trying to go against established media, and we need to be better than the people who we're fighting against. So, in my opinion, Smash JT does a thing where he's trying to be better than Kotaku, better than Polygon, all of them. When you're in that space, you need to verify information that comes your way, especially when it's really juicy and it's like everything you've ever wanted. An industry insider comes to you and says, I got this information that we're being delayed again. You need to do everything in your power to verify that source, because what the establishment media doesn't do a lot of times is verify their sources. And there's I even have a tweet from about a year ago where people in that sphere were doing the very same thing to an actual game journalist, and it was okay then. The whole discussion now is, oh my God, it's unethical to do that. It's unethical to print information and say you verify something when it's not true. And again, if we're going to be better than the other side, you got to do the work. Because guess what? Journalism is an actual career. People have sucked at it recently, but it's an actual career that requires work. It requires verification. Sometimes multiple people need to verify something. And then you can go to print with it. Otherwise, you look like a fucking idiot. And I'm not calling him an idiot specifically. I'm just saying it looks really bad. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but if this is the path you've chosen, and he does that, he's got a website, he writes articles. A lot of people do this. You have to verify what's going on.
I think what's important is how you present yourself. If you present yourself as a alternative journalist to the mainstream, like what you're saying, then yeah, he needs to verify and make sure that he has multiple sources, go by the same ethics that they used to go by, journalists, that is. You know what I mean? And always make sure that you have as many qualifiers that are necessary for people to be very clear on what it is that you are quote unquote reporting, right?
Right.
I
if
think
you
that's
can't
entirely
triangulate the story or get a second confirmation, because if there's only one insider that talks to you, it's pretty hard to nail that down with anybody else. But then you report it as an anonymous source or an unnamed source, and it's to be taken with a grain of salt.
Or say allegedly, just like allegedly this is happening, because you're kind of covering yourself.
I mean, my sources tell me that allegedly Kathleen Kennedy's getting fired next week.
Yeah, next week.
Oh,
did anybody here actually watch JT's video over that?
This is the first I've ever heard of
a single video from him.
Do we like him?
That's my question: is watching the video, did he, I mean, that's my question. Cause I saw him post it out. I saw him talk about it. I didn't see anybody else talk about it. So I didn't bring it up or mention it or talk about it. I thought, you know, I something about it seemed a little sus to me, but I didn't watch his video over it. And that's my question. In his video, did he say, take this with a grain of salt? Did he say this is strictly a rumor? I wasn't able to verify this. Or is everybody just reading the headline of his video and going, well, he didn't verify this, so he's a fucking bad journalist?
I mean, I looked at those multiple videos with a headline.
I don't know if he said the whole grain of salt thing or whatever, but he came out and apologized. And then now there's like a lot of cope going on.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is that still makes him better than
with a grain of salt.
Right. Well, and either way, the fact that he came out and apologized and said that he was wrong is like literally a mile step farther than any of the legacy institutions we've been dealing with for the last, 100 years. Like he actually admitted he's wrong, you know, like, yeah, Kotaku would not do that. IGN would not do that. Deadline would not do that. The Hollywood Reporter would not do that. Like none of these organizations would do that.
I wonder if it would work better if he did a character like from, I don't know, outer space or something and had like a voice mod. And so he could talk about all these sources he has, but he says it like this. So like, oh, that sounds believable now because he's doing a voice thing.
I love Doomcock.
And he's oh no, I wasn't.
The guy who tricked him used a real. It doesn't matter. Like, so I've heard this excuse and like Devastator. The point is,
yeah.
You need to verify that.
Yeah, cool.
Like,
badge picture or something.
Like, who was the second source?
Right. I got an email today from my gym that was a phishing email. Like they were like someone impersonated the gym I go to very well, I might add, saying I had an appointment for a personal training thing. Click this link to verify. Like, but it looked legit. Like people are always trying to knock you down. When you put yourself in a position saying like, I am trying to battle Kotaku and I'm trying to do this and that, and you build up a name, like you're going to make enemies, even if it's in like a tangent sphere to us. Like that's what this whole thing was for, was to prove that a lot of the anti-woke like creators are no better than the people that they are fighting against. Is it a little bit scummy? Sure. I can agree with that.
I think his intentions are actually needed, and I mean there needs to be checks on both sides.
Sure,
regardless of where you fall, you need someone to be like, hold the fuck on, man. The Earth isn't flat. Why do we follow the same people? This is insane. You know what I mean?
Well, and you guys have heard me rant about that a million times, as far as the fact that we have to do better, because there's certain people in our sphere that I could easily call them out right now,
name them
here and talk about it, but everybody knows.
2020.
That's right, Static 2020. But this is my thing. King of was like, he finally admitted he goofed after he was caught. Okay, guess what? How many times have we caught the legacy media lying? 1 billion times, and they never admit that they were wrong.
Doesn't matter.
Never admit that.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter that he admitted he was wrong. That doesn't matter.
It's great that he admitted he was wrong, but at the end of the day, like you can't really make excuses for something like that. Like your journalistic integrity needs to be like dialed to 11, because all people do is bitch about legacy media this, legacy media that, and then he goes and pulls something like that. No.
So one time out of like the 500 times he's done stuff like this.
No, the thing is though, it's harder to really just accept on face a apology when it's after you're caught. You know what I mean? If you come out and be like, hey guys, this is what I found out since I was wrong about that. I'm like, oh man, really? Other than people like, hey, you're wrong about this. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, okay, I got to come clean. You know, you have the black and white camera going. Walk in slowly, sit down.
I agree with that, except if you don't know that you were knowingly wrong.
Right.
Then until you get caught, there is no way to apologize.
That's a good point.
Because if you really thought that you were bringing something legitimate, you don't know that you're making something up. Somebody tricked you. I get that you've got to verify it, but the apology thing in this case, and I haven't watched any of it. I know nothing about it. But if he came out and said he was wrong, but it was after he got caught, but he was presenting something that he thought was knowingly truthful, that's different than presenting something that you know is dead wrong as fact.
Absolutely.
and then waiting until you're caught to apologize.
But
And
the hang up
media,
though.
that's exactly what the legacy media has done the entire time, except that they don't ever admit that they're wrong.
Okay, well,
But
for him
that's
specifically
still-
though.
That still doesn't matter. Like, yes, we know that, and that's not going away.
Yeah.
This was the point of my rant earlier. Is that if you're like everyone, nearly everybody in this space is a commentator. You're not a fucking journalist.
We're
You're
opinion.
a commentator because
Yeah.
you sit on your ass. I'm not saying you or anyone here necessarily. I'm saying we all
Lies. I
like
sit on my ass.
we sit on our ass and we bring up articles and we go fuck them, right? But there's people who say, I am fighting the legacy media. Go to my website, read my article about so and so. Can you believe this? And they use that stupid ass voice, and they are the counter to media. They are the new anti-woke media, however you want to put it.
It's the context in which it happened, because he is putting himself as being he's juxtaposed to Kotaku and all those others, right? So by doing that, you should be holding yourself to a higher standard. If you want to show that it's better, be at a higher standard. He didn't even meet the minimum standard, which again is 2 sources.
We're like literally tearing a guy apart for one thing that he got wrong. That one thing that he got tricked
Tearing him
about.
apart, I think I've been pretty easy. I don't even know the fucking guy.
No, I don't think like I'm not saying that like, and this is the same thing that like I said about Melanie and everyone else. I'm not encouraging anyone to go on sub from him. I don't want his channel to be lost. I don't want his website to be taken down. What I want is for everyone doing what he's trying to do to see the fatal error that was made and correct it moving forward.
10
Like,
lashes.
Cat of nine tails, like at least 15 of them. Like it just like this, it deserves criticism, and he of all people, like needs to verify this shit because he makes a living making 10 videos a day about calling people out like this.
I think he's got a full-time job, if I remember.
Well,
correctly.
whatever. He
It
makes a
doesn't
bunch of
change
videos with the stupid ass thumbnails. Like that's what he does.
Stupid ass.
Crying,
Who else
fucking
makes
big
those
eyes,
thumbnails?
Every other person on YouTube.
Hey, I'll just listen to me. Everyone who's in the chat, I know there's certain people in the chat. I love every single person here, and I love everyone I've come in contact with in the fellowship. Like, my honesty is this is me. This is me being real. I love all of you guys. You guys are talented. You guys work hard. I think it's cringe as fuck, those fucking thumbnails.
Ooh,
Like
Hollywood
that's I'm
Shags.
sorry.
Hollywood Shags. I'm with you. I guess this morning when I was over hanging out with Literature Devil, watching another fucking Critical Drinker video. Listen, seems like a cool guy. Love his accent. But for Christ's sake, can somebody else edit his fucking videos? If I have to see Tyrion fucking puke one more time
He gets a pass. I don't know why.
because of an accent. Ooh, I got
Oh,
the
Drinker gets
accent.
to pass the Shags. Okay. Okay.
Oh, I got the accent. Now I can do whatever. By the way, for those
Exactly.
only listening to the audio, that was not Critical Drinker dropping in. That was me and my flawless Scottish accent.
That's
Joe
fucking
Atmosphere with a 5 spot. Thank you, brother. Studied journalism as a kid. Got to have a minimum of 2 credible sources, and if you have to print a retraction, your credibility is shot. Fact.
Yeah.
Which I guess is why the legacy media never ever has ever printed a retraction on almost anything in the last, I don't know, 15,
Oh, they print
20 years.
retractions all the time. They just do it weeks later and put it on page
Mhm.
40.
Yeah, people don't
Yeah.
see him, unfortunately, and honestly, that it makes a lot of sense. It's just, and again, I'm not saying I want anyone's. I don't want his credibility destroyed. Like, but now it deserves a second look. Like, okay, what information are we getting? And it calls into question things that have been brought up before. Like, obviously, I don't expect anyone to go back into his catalog and look at that stuff.
Doing
I
it
think
right
that's
now.
stupid and weird. But again, it
I mean,
does bring
that
up the
part-
question.
That Park Place did an audit last year on their own website because they're a big rumor mill, and Pro and a lot of these other guys have got sources inside of the Walt Disney Company and stuff like that. And that's what they do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing an audit on somebody and finding out how accurate they were. I mean, that's the way I like all my rumor mill stuff. I do rumor mill stuff all the time. I always make sure that, the intro to the video and stuff like that is, this is a rumor, but at the exact same time, more often than not, I only report on rumors from sources that have been reliable for a long time, that have a proven track record of that kind of stuff. And if somebody's right 99 out of 100 times and they get one thing wrong, is it that, what is it they always say? It's like, you can have a great day all day long, but if you do one bad thing, then your whole day is just
Jesse. It's not that he did one thing wrong; is how he did it wrong.
But like you said, you didn't even watch his video.
No,
like,
okay,
nobody
but
here has watched his video.
No, I don't need to watch the video to know he only had one source.
Okay,
has that not been established that this came off of one guy who pretended to be somebody from the company?
Yeah.
So right there, that's the issue. It's not that, he's only done one thing wrong out of 100. The issue is how he went about making that mistake, juxtaposed to who he is trying to be better than, who he is trying to set the standard.
And on top of it, which I mentioned in the beginning, which we kind of got away from, is that like this group of people who are screaming like ethics, like, oh my God, there's an ethical problem here. Like this guy was shitty for doing it. They did the same thing. They were celebrating like a game journo getting set up in this almost exact way. A little bit more like detailed in what happened, but
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, Nick Calandra with the Emperor.
That's what it was. Nick
Yeah.
Calandra. Yeah. They set him up the exact
the
same way, and even Smash commented on it and was like, oh my God, I've been blocked by him, but ha ha ha. Like no one had a problem with it when it was against them, but now that they're being scrutinized, now it's a problem. So again, sorry, but
I don't know. My biggest issue is the division has always been my problem. Like, I don't know. Everybody needs to be criticized and stuff like that. But it's like we went from, and I've said this before, and I've said this before on this show several times. It's like we went from slaying dragons to fighting foot soldiers that are on our side. You know what I mean? And it's gone kind of insane.
I think they're people on their own side. It's a like monetizing negativity and running fail stories because their audiences eat it up. It's not even about we're moving away from this is truth and this is like we're trying to preserve things that we love. Like no one's doing anything to actually change. I'm not saying that some people are.
Wow.
I said it today on my stream. You need to find ways to be like, I don't want to say you need to be a part of the established media. You need to figure out a way for people to find all of you credible. Like I'm not saying you, I'm saying like whoever's trying to be the alternative media, the counterculture, you need to find a way for devs to look at you and take what you're doing seriously. And however that might be. Now, my solution was you need to start looking at games and movies through a lens that actually critiques them on a technical level, and a developmental level and all that. Leave identity politics out of there. I know that they're not going to do that, but that's the point. Leave that shit out of it because it doesn't matter. Your analysis on it should be
but the identity politics do matter, though.
Right. It can change the entire perspective of a game.
Absolutely. And it's not just gaming, too. Like Sunker Maiden and I reviewed Creature Commandos all the way through from episode 1 all the way to the end. And we could have ranted and raved every single episode about the woke identity politics, bullshit, MAGA garbage that fucking James Gunn inserted into that show. But guess what? There was a million other things wrong with that show that we critiqued on top of that. The majority of our critiques on that show had nothing to do with the woke elements of the show. You know what I mean? But the problem is the woke elements are a giant red flag because more often than not, when they concentrate on that, everything else suffers. Star Wars Outlaws suffered from that. Dragon Age Veilguard suffered from that. Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to suffer from that. And it's not just about bad storytelling and stuff like that. Star Wars Outlaws was a broken and buggy ass game from day one. Why? Because they thought their identity politics was the only thing that mattered. They have a toxic positivity issue inside of the video game industry where everybody's, oh, that's a great idea. That's fabulous. That's wonderful. Everything's fine. Because we've heard these reports from insiders several times inside of a lot of these different studios. And it's not just one, it's several of the studios that we've heard this. It's like you can't critique anybody. You can't push back anybody. You can't tell anybody that, hey, guess what? That's a dumbass fucking idea. You shouldn't do that. Oh, guess what? This is broken and buggy. And I've even heard this from some of my guys out in the chat that have been testing investors in the past. It's like they won't listen. These studios' leaderships won't listen. They will try to tell you their game is broken and buggy, and management goes, fuck it, push it out anyway. And so like it's like the woke stuff is just a giant red flag. And more often than not, what comes after the woke stuff is absolute fucking garbage. It's just been the general rule of thumb for a very long time. Like, so I would say it's a red flag. Like you could argue that Cyberpunk is woke, right? Oh. One of the main characters that you deal with, one of the main storylines, she's a transgender dude, right? Like, you know, she's got a fucking trans flag on the back of her truck and shit like that. But you know what? She mentions it one time in her story, and outside of seeing the flag on the back of her fucking truck, it's never mentioned again. She's got a great story. She's got great back development. It's all of these other wonderful things. But especially in the last few years, more often than not, when you see that stuff, it means it's going to be a fucked up, bullshit ass trash game. You know, fortunately enough with Cyberpunk, they still concentrated more on the storytelling than even having identity politics in it.
Can I comment on something that was like 30 minutes? It was closer to the beginning of that. By the way, does PragerU offer a class on punctuation that Jesse could sign up for?
On what?
PragerU on punctuation, you know, like periods.
Punctuation.
Punctuation.
Would you enunciate, Mad, so I can understand you instead of slurring all your words?
I apologize. My speech is affected by my traumatic brain injury.
Well, that makes sense then.
From being blown up.
Yeah, and when I'm tired, it gets worse, and I start to slur. Oh, I got blown up 5 times because the last one was the best.
I had a buddy of mine that was blown up like 4 times, so that's why I was asking. Yeah, he was pretty fucked up too. So yeah, that's what I was asking.
Anyway,
so all of that.
What I was going to say.
Sorry, Matt.
Oh yeah, sorry. So it wasn't that they were using their identity politics as a shield. It's that under the operating under the ideas of like critical theory or whatever, they were hiring people who did not have the talent, skill, or experience to make good games, quality games, right? That's where they failed. It's not because they're like, oh, we don't have to worry about making a good game because we have, you know, DEI. We have a black woman on the team, so we don't have to make a good game. Is they were incapable of making a good game because they weren't hired based on their skill.
Right. But that's like I said, that's why the red flags of identity politics being inserted into a game automatically throw up those kind of issues, because that is a sign that people inside of the game were hired because of their politics and not because they actually knew how to do a good job. Those two, they go hand in hand, is how it ends up working.
But Shags' point is, start the review with picking apart the technicals of the game and how it plays, the gameplay, the story, and then maybe put a blurb at the end.
I challenge any channel.
Immediately go after everything right off the bat.
I challenge any channel to start covering movies and games without the lens of identity politics. I understand your stance on it, and I'm not saying that you're wrong.
Can we still list everyone's sex and race at the beginning?
No, like when I go into a game, when I want to read something, what I would love to see from the anti-woke crowd, if we're going to call it that, I want to know about this game developmentally. I want to know about it from a technical standpoint. I want to know about it from a story standpoint and gameplay, because that is what ultimately
you're saying you want to know if they played the game.
That would be a great
more
start.
Than a demo.
Yes, and again,
story mode.
And this is totally doable. I've already ranted about this today, but I'm gonna do it again because there's people that are here now that weren't there earlier. Like Geeks and Gamers or whoever could do this. You don't even have to do it under the name. Just make it like a child company. Like make Geeks and Gamers the parent company and have this underneath it. You have a team of people who love playing games. Get a JRPG player, get a CRPG player, get a deck builder player, get a whatever genres you have. Those games come out, they become people, like they'll probably at the start have to buy the games like ahead of time, but eventually they could be covering these games in a way where these developers would see that, hey, this group of people is not just immediately gravitating towards, oh, wokeism. Oh, there's a black bald woman in here. We got to hate this now. Like that is what that is how you start getting in with this. It's not an overnight process. And people expecting that all of a sudden that they're just going to be given keys to these games to review them are out of their fucking mind. This is going to take time.
I wouldn't. First off, I would never expect that. And second off, when you start getting keys to the kingdom, that automatically affects your integrity.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No.
Yes, it does. Because when you start going, when they start taking you and inviting you to go hang out with the game development team, and they pay for your trip out there, and you get to go hang out in the dev studio and get an early test of the game and get early access to all of that stuff, all of that absolutely affects you. And that's why all of these people, that's why we make fun of the access media. That's why we laugh and ridicule at them, because every one of them, guess what? You go hang out with all of these people and they wine and dine you. Why are you going to say anything bad about them? I mean, Rings of Power was a prime example of that. I mean, fuck, we had one of the guys out there. I can't remember the name of the channel anymore, but the guy that was like, I'm not access media. I don't shill for these things just because they give me access, while he shows pictures of him behind the scenes at Lucasfilm, hanging out with everybody behind the creation of the Acolyte. And then we wonder why he said that he loved it. He even admitted they took him to Disneyland and gave him a trip around Disneyland and paid for all of that stuff. And then he's like, well, that wouldn't influence my opinion.
I'm not saying that.
What do you mean it wouldn't? Yes, it would.
Well, yeah, corruption, I guess, exists in all levels of everything. So, I mean, you're not going to eradicate it all.
If they're going to wine and dine you and they're going to pay for all your shit, you're going to be you're not going to be inclined to bash them when they just paid fucking $5
Static
is also
that has nothing to do with the point of what Shags was trying to say. He was like saying, if you think you're going to get keys, you're not going to. That was like the last thing on his whole point.
And really, like, this is also this is an integrity part of the whole conversation. That like, and I keep seeing people like throwing like, oh, these are my sub numbers. This is what I do. This is how many people are watching my shit. This is how many people are playing a game. You know, some people make shit out of passion that just doesn't get seen. Doesn't necessarily need to get seen constantly. And here's the thing. Would I love to get flown around the fucking like world to watch movies and do that? And would I love to get like every single RPG to play early and review it for free? Sure. But like there are people out there who have enough integrity to play a game, give an honest opinion on it, and actually run a decent business. You don't always have to be the biggest and baddest, best company out there to have influence over it. There's plenty of people that exist out there that just want to build a business big enough. Like, and again, if you think that like even Geeks and Gamers is like world renowned, I mean, you're wrong. It's a small corner of the internet. People respect what they have to say, and you could do a lot within that sphere.
And their website does do what you were asking about. I checked it the other day. There's reviews for like some of these games.
It's the same problem as Rumble, though, Jesse. Rumble has this like Rumble is like full on conservative politics, and then they're over there being like, we're gonna run gaming. It's like, well, you need to separate the two. No one knows you do gaming. Like, you talk about it every now and then. Like, you could totally do this properly, but like, just separate yourselves. Geeks and Gamers is a lot of culture war stuff and political stuff. Make that something separate from the gaming side of things. Give it another name. You can still run it as Geeks and Gamers, the parent company, but separate the two. And like, this happens all the time. And I'm not saying like, and here I am acting like I have the answers to everything. I just, there's ways to even infiltrate from our side of things back into the mainstream, but all people really know how to do right now is just headbutt every problem.
Well, but here's, in your defense, Shags, you do have the beard of a messiah, so you may have some of the answers.
I doubt it. But the other thing about that is think about this though. Think about it from a corporate perspective, right? If you give a guy early access to your product, whatever it is, movie, video game, whatever it is, and then they go out there and bash it and say that it's trash and terrible, are you ever going to call that person back in for early access again? No,
I would hope that.
Yes.
Don't just answer for me. You're going to ask me a question. Please say.
No. I'm saying from a corporation's perspective, they are. I was being
right, but you're giving the answer, and that's not necessarily true. Angel Studios has been sending us screeners, and we have torn up their last 3 movies. on
Okay.
that Christian panel.
It's-
They've
and it's
sent us the
okay.
screeners, and they continue to send us the screeners. They don't care.
Yeah.
Right. So you're talking about the exception to the rule. You're talking one independent
Jesus.
studio that is out there pushing Christian values, but is not.
You wanted a corporate
America.
example.
Listen,
That's
it's-
not a
they're a
corporate
corporation.
example. They're an indie. They are an indie.
They're an indie
studio.
corporate.
They are indie. They're an indie studio.
It's
They're
hyphened.
not a triple A. They are not a. They are not Disney. They are not Warner Brothers. They are not Microsoft. They're not Sony.
Can you give us all the
they
parameters
send
for
you-
us
they
to
send
answer?
you previews that cost them nothing.
Hold on,
If they
Jesse.
fly you out and spend tens of thousands of dollars on you coming out here to review your shit, they are not going to call you back if you bash it.
If
It's
you
a completely different
yes,
animal.
No, I disagree. If a company cares about their product, about their IP, they will not let their personal feelings get in the way of that. It is so a great example of that would be, does anyone know? They have 3 movies now going on 4.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog. This corporations have released stuff that has
We're-
totally bombed.
Wait, what are
They
the
went back.
qualifiers though? For does it
We're
qualify under
talking the
Jesse's rules?
exception to the. No, we're talking the exception to the rule, though.
That's
How many
But I'm s-
exceptions
what-
have there been?
but
Two. Angel Studios and
Well, we don't know
Sonic.
all of the
Who else?
qualifiers you're looking for, Jesse. Is there a certain amount that they make annually for it to qualify to answer?
You're talking about
But this-
Paramount, one of the
it-
smallest people.
But this goes to my
You're
point.
comparing apples to oranges.
This goes to my point that there are big companies. If you're calling Paramount small, you're insane.
That's insane.
They're one of the smallest corporations in Hollywood.
So they don't count as a corporation.
I
Because
didn't
they
say
are.
that.
The
I
point-
just said, did they change anything over at Star Trek with all the backlash they got to Discovery or
Well, that's a
I don't know,
small
anything
indie
else
show. Who's even seen it?
Right.
Being made over
right.
there at that small Paramount.
Trek. How about Star Wars? Did Star Wars listen with all the fan backlash and the billions of dollars they've lost?
Yeah,
and
they
the
kind of
abysmal
did.
ratings
Wasn't
they've
no.
gotten?
What didn't
Like-
JJ do a lot of things to undo what fucking Big Head did on The Last Jedi? Right? Was that
Yeah,
not?
and what have they done with the television
Oh,
shows ever
Sorry,
since?
that doesn't count
They've-
either because of the television shows after that. Sorry, that didn't count.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Rise of Palpatine
Clearly.
still lost money.
What,
So-
that wasn't part of what you're asking, bro. You're
What
like,
I'm
when
saying is
has
they
Star
don't
Wars ever
listen.
addressed
They
the?
don't
No, hold on,
listen.
Jesse.
There
You've been
are-
talking enough.
There are big companies.
This is what you
that
said.
listen.
You said when has Star Wars ever done anything to try to correct the criticisms that are being made? I said, well, JJ, when he got the last movie, he tried to undo a lot of the things people were complaining about. Well, that doesn't count because they made shows after that didn't address it. That's bro. Nobody can
Okay,
have
so
a
you got-
conversation
you got-
under this.
You got
Three.
three
Okay.
examples to
What-
the rule.
How many
out of
exceptions
the
until you're wrong?
The thousands of other examples of where they completely and totally ignored the fan base and went in their own way.
Do you have a number of exceptions that you will accept? How many? 50?
Okay,
Well,
here's another where they
3
listen
out
to
of
somebody.
100,000?
Yo, what's going on, Camelot? You got what's going on, friends?
Camelot, hey, what's up,
100,000.
Sonia?
Thanks for
If
joining.
Paramount doesn't count because it's smaller than the rest, there's not 100,000 bigger than Paramount.
Right.
My son-in-law
but
sent
I'm
me an
talking about
article today that
100,000
Cam's moving up the
examples of
trucks.
shows.
My boys. Cash is in the
What?
house. Cash Kester's here.
What's
Smoking
up,
You like
Cass?
him?
The Smoking Man. I
guess
love
we
it.
like him.
Billy Thatcher, what's going on, brother? What's happening? Oh, Sonia's here. What's going on, Sonia?
Yes, the beautiful
Love this
Sonia.
team.
She's such a sweetheart.
Steph, what's going on? Always a pleasure. I'm trying to Alex Kane. Elementa MJ, what's going on? Camelot, what's going on, man? I hope you had a good stream. I sent you the link if you want to hang with us for a little bit. Feel free. If not, I understand.
What the fuck?
Get
We
your
didn't
rest.
vote.
Shags, did you hear what I said earlier?
This is
Oh, sorry.
This is a
My
totalitarian
son-in-law
show.
sent me an article today saying that our boy Camelot got moved up to the trucks.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
I-
going
Yeah.
to be doing some truck races. He's also going to be in a video game next year.
Yeah,
I heard about that. Saw that
too.
today. Yeah, he's gonna be the next NASCAR. His car is gonna be the next NASCAR game. And he was like, he even put something out there on Twitter too. He's like, any of you guys out there that have products or companies, you want to get your sticker on my car so that way it can be in the video game forever? Fucking let me know. So Cam's being fucking great for that shit. I love it. That's
I'm
fucking
gonna.
dope.
I want to get my beard on the side of that car. How do we do that?
wanna get
Shags,
it.
yeah, email him, ask him how much that's going to cost.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
buy a decal to be put on the car, and then I'm gonna fly him out here to my studio, meaning my kitchen island, and that way he'll shill for me because that's what it takes.
There you go.
Right?
That's exactly what it takes.
Disney
That's
him.
exactly what it
Can I
takes.
can I just get one of these like on the car, like
There you go.
actual size, this size?
just
Who
get-
cares
yeah.
if it can be seen?
Can you add
Brahma,
something
just
about
mail
my
it-
channel
just
at the
mail
bottom?
him one. I'm sure he's got a PO box. Just mail him one.
So chat, we are arguing
in a
and
couple weeks.
discussing peacefully.
No, we're arguing.
I mean, one of us.
Who are
is.
we discussing? I don't even remember. We're
Well, I've got another good example for Jesse because he used this example.
okay.
Yes.
What is the game that you were talking about? Cybertron or not Cybertron? What is the
Cyberpunk.
name of the
I
game?
love Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's
Yeah.
a great
Cyberpunk.
example of somebody that came out with something busted and broken as fuck and fixed it.
Right, and
Is it bigger
listened
than
to their
Paramount?
fans, and then they fixed it
Right, and they
because
still,
the game was unplayable for months and months
Fallout
and months
76.
while everybody
No,
told
for-
them
Yeah,
to fix
Fallout-
it.
people.
Bethesda's another good
76.
example. Yeah.
Yep. But are they
Yeah,
bigger
and
than
I mean-
Paramount?
And Cyberpunk's even got Cyberpunk's one of them situations too. It's like they even admitted that like, yeah, we fucked up really, really bad. And that's one of those things. It's like that's
Right.
one of those where the companies comes out and actually admits they did that. Sonic did that too. They admitted that they fucked up and they went back and they fixed it. And it's one of them situations where that does happen, but it's still the exception to the rule. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we've got a million examples of them not doing that. You know, which one of the examples that we do have of them actually doing that is something that I am excited for is the Red Sonja movie. That was one of those things that initially, when it was first in production development, they had a bunch of woke activists involved with it and everything else, and they changed things and they got rid of the people involved. And guess what? She's in an iron bikini now. And that was not something that was going to happen initially. And they paid attention and they listened to what the fan base wanted and they gave it what it wanted.
Professor Savage,
So-
what Netflix example are we talking about here? They listen to their fans course corrected because I think
Netflix is
the
such a
point
mixed
being
bag.
is I think the point being is it's not as much of an exception as you may think it is, and really at the end of the day, like.
Well, okay. So we've gotten 4 examples of an exception. What other exceptions do we have out of the thousands of examples that we have of them not listening to the fans?
You just came up with another one. Added 5 to it. I mean, Red Sonja.
Is it-
I mean,
is it bigger than Paramount?
Do I want to?
do we need to list every single one?
I
Yeah.
can list every
Throughout
example of the
history.
ones where they didn't. I mean,
Okay, but
Wait.
the point is, it does happen.
Yeah, that doesn't
yeah, I
disprove
didn't
the ones
say
that
it
have.
didn't happen, but I said it's the exception to the rule. The rule is the most time they don't.
I think a more poignant example would be when a studio or creative company comes out and actually blames their fans for the failure of their product. Yeah, that's definitely bad
Happens
form.
all the time.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. Dragon Age Veilguard did that. Star Wars Outlaws did that. Star Wars did that. Marvel did that. Disney as a whole did that. Hell, I think there were even during the old regime with Warner Brothers, they did that. They blamed Birds of Prey. They blamed Ghostbusters 2016 on men not watching it. The same thing was the reboot with
Does anybody remember how we got here?
Yeah, because I'm trying to tie it back to what we were saying. Like, because again, I think weren't we talking about like identity politics and how
We were talking about integrity and reviewing.
integrity and
you're
integrity in journalism and integrity in like reviewing and stuff like that.
Mr. Pibb never got a PhD.
at the
Yeah,
end
exactly.
of the day, like again, time only moves one way, right? We're moving forward. We're not moving back. So the only way to become something more than what we are now is to just do better than our competition.
Absolutely.
The competition has a lack of journalistic integrity. They like to blame their fans. They like to blame like people who are really into these things. So the way, in my opinion, the way through this is leave it alone. Like, so and to kind of tie it to another example, there's an individual on Twitter who won't shut up, which is pretty much everyone, but JDA will not shut up about anything.
Yeah.
And at this point, I think he's just trolling, but everyone is falling for it. They quote tweet him, they comment, all this stuff.
Dude,
Stop.
I mean,
I have
The only way, hold on. The only
Go ahead.
way that these people continue and make money is when you comment and when you quote tweet.
Okay, so
Stop.
now that
One final thing.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
If you want this, like, if you want a lot of these, like identity politics shit to get out, if you want to start becoming the people that people rely on, don't lean into what they're doing. The reason they are telling you you are racist or sexist or whatever about these games is because they know that you're going to focus on that and you're going to put all your energy into defending that and not actually talking about the game. Talk about the game, what works, what doesn't, on a technical story, all that stuff. You will win people over with that message because you can't argue with things that are actually wrong. Don't care about identity politics anymore. It's
Yeah.
a tired argument. It's silly. People look stupid doing it.
Well, I would take it.
Well, okay. Go
No,
ahead,
no,
Static.
Static.
I want no, yeah, because I want to comment on JDA, but go ahead, Static.
So
yeah.
I would about the identity politics and people talking about that. It's getting to the point where if a game has identity politics, the people aren't fucking playing the game to even get what's being done identity politically like in the game right. Like they're just not reporting on it properly and they're missing context to what might actually be happening, and maybe it's not as cringe as they're trying to like promote it. They're making fake news out of this shit.
Yeah.
That's why I am tired of hearing anyone talk about a video game without fucking playing it. You got to play the damn game.
You do.
Yeah, well, and it's just
Yes.
like if we continue to focus on the politics of a game rather than the quality of the game, then that's all the devs are going to think that we care about. Is like, I want to focus on the quality of the game because it's like that's the main thing that I care about a game is like how fun is it to play, and if we focus on that thing, or if we keep focusing on politics, not the quality, then that's all the game studios are going to think about, or the PR team is going to think about is what the politics side of the video game, and it's like we need to be past this now. It's like we address that. We don't want wokeness in the game, but let's now just focus on, okay, let's bring back quality, fun games.
Get back to making good gameplay.
Mhm.
I mean, hardly any of this ever bothers me because the way I play games, I mean, like Veilguard, I was never going to play. It's not a game I would play. But even the games that I do play, I don't watch a single cutscene. I don't watch any of the dialogue unless it actually means anything. I murder half of the NPCs. I play the game to get through the game
Yeah, well,
as fast and as fun as I can. Dark Souls, I fly through them. Elden Ring, fly through them. I don't
some say that's how
listen
you
to
live your life.
anything.
I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and like that had some of its controversy, and I was like, I'm gonna wait for it to come out, and I'm gonna play it myself and see how it is. And I've been playing it, and it has been fantastic. The gameplay is great, the story is great, it looks great, and the whole the political part of it is like I didn't experience any of it yet, or I saw like there was like the option to go down that road, and I avoided it. And guess what?
How many
never
wieners
came
did you
up
want to
again.
touch?
Huh?
So
How many wieners did you want to touch?
Zero. And guess what? I haven't touched a single fucking wiener. It's like,
Perfect.
oh my God. It's like I decided to avoid that option. And guess what? It didn't force it back on me again.
And the funny thing is, right, is that like, so again, the cream rises to the top. A game like Baldur's Gate 3, I haven't played it. I'm not interested in those games. But
Fantastic
you can
game.
fuck a bear. But people love that game. They look past all of it because like this game is quality. It's really good. The gameplay systems are awesome, whatever. But Dragon Age the Veilguard fails miserably because all it does is talk at you with like modern day fucking Zoomer language. Like these games fail on their own, not because for anything else, because normal people look at something like that and they go, I don't want to play this. This is awful. Same thing with like a Dustborn game. Normal people don't want to fucking play that game. It's as simple as that. It's really as simple as that. You don't need to do 10 videos on why something's what. Just play the game, talk about it. Because I'll guarantee you, at some point, like I almost want Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, to be fucking awesome. I want it to be awesome because I want people who like you can make that face all you want, Static.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm looking it up.
I do.
I want it to be really good. so people can people who made knee-jerk reactions at the beginning,
Oh,
like,
So
just
what if you're
come.
what if you're wrong? What if we're all confirmed right? Will
Then
you
I'll have-
change your opinion then? That the
then I
red
guess you
flags
can have
are
a
a
suck-off
problem?
party.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
My question is though, will that confirm that the red flags are a problem? Right? You want to give all of these games the benefit of the doubt, and maybe you've got the money to burn in order to do that, but the majority of people don't.
I mean,
The majority
Game
of people are
Pass.
not going to spend $70 on a game and go, yeah, guess what?
But
Everyone
there's
wants to get Game Pass.
multiple
Everyone wants to submit to
factors.
Microsoft's bullshit.
There's
You know,
multiple
but it's-
factors as to why I would invest in a game. Like so what I think Intergalactic did right is that they teased something in the classical way that, like, here's something that we have, here's a proof of concept. It's like, you might not like the character design and what that character looks like, but here's what I'm intrigued by. There's a planet, there's a system, the setting looks cool. What is this, like, moon that's broken and in a spiral?
you could
Like-
take out the bald black woman, and there's still plenty of cringe in that trailer.
I say take out all the women.
Well, I mean, what's it called? I didn't like the product placement. I didn't like the Porsche shit. Like, I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
But like, on the surface, they teased something cool. Like, it looks like a style of game that I would enjoy. So based on that, I'll probably, if it's on Game Pass, like, it won't be on Game Pass. It's probably gonna be PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
Like, there's enough there to, like, lead me into it. Now there's going to be a gameplay reveal next that's going to show me like how the combat is. Probably it's probably going to show me a little bit about the story. We're probably going to see other NPCs and all that, and then that's a further, like, hey, I can make another decision about this. Maybe that will lead me down a little bit more and maybe want to, I don't know, but I'm not just going to immediately dismiss something because of a character model.
Right. But my thing
I'm
is
older.
like,
I'm old enough to not do that.
I don't have the resources to drop $70 on a game that I already think might potentially be bad.
That's fine.
And I'm one of those that I'm going
But
to
based
wait
on what?
a-
What did you see that you didn't?
Okay. So just the character design alone is a giant red flag because this is a character design that we've seen happen before. We saw it happen in Star Wars Outlaws. We saw it
What
happen
about
in
it? Be
Concord.
specific.
Okay, she's
Metroid.
bald and has no tits. She literally looks like a dude and a wife.
She doesn't look like a
Who are
dude.
we even talking about?
But how did you feel about that character though? Because she was in like the
Well-
Star Wars games. The
The actress or the
Yeah.
actual the actress, I think, is gorgeous. I think what they did to her in Star Wars Outlaws is an absolute abomination. I put her on my thumbnail several times because she looks amazing, and they uglified the fuck out of her in that game for no damn reason other than identity politics.
Static, you were
and-
gonna say something?
Well, I was just saying, when you say like she's bald and has no tits, like that's fucking cringy as fuck.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm sorry
No
that I
dick.
want to look at something that's visually attractive when
It's
I play
such
a game.
Vapid excuse.
Okay, and I'm a narcissist. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't have a problem
don't-
with that.
How does
And that's
that
the thing
relate?
is, like, I'm not even a guy that plays games for the girls, right? Like, I have friends that play Fortnite. They only play the female characters because they're like, I'd rather look at a female's ass than a dude's ass the entire time. Okay,
Well, the hitbox are
congratulations.
smaller.
Guess what?
This-
I play dudes in
this-
all my video games.
That screenshot looks cool as hell. I'm sold. Like, let's do it.
You're
Like,
gonna
what are we
drop-
doing
You're
next?
gonna drop $70 on this game just because of that screenshot.
Like, you're very
No, he has
binary in your
Xbox Game
thinking.
Pass.
Like,
No. I just asked. I said, are you going to spend $70 on that game because of that screenshot?
so again, you heard what I said. Because this is a teaser right now, I feel based on what I saw, I would be willing to spend the
You're
$60 or
more
$70
inclined to
on
purchase
this.
it because of what you've seen.
Because there's elements in it that
Must be nice to have that disposable income.
I think it's not about disposal.
You
like,
don't
dude,
have to ever buy the game if you don't want to. You could wait until a month after it's out and watch 20 people play the game for that whole month,
Right,
and then
and then-
decide that looks fun. I'll play it.
Yes, and then even like the next trailer, maybe the next trailer reveals, oh, this isn't quite what I want. Maybe I'll wait for a sale, but I'll still play it.
Yeah.
Or there's so many different variations that play out. It's not just that I'm buying this or I'm not buying it.
I 100% agree. I'll see a trailer. I'm like, I'm on board. And then it's in first person perspective. I'm like, I'm off board. Like as soon as I see that, I'm like, well, I'm done with. I I may wait for a mod to come out. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I will be all on board until I see if it's in first person, and then I'm immediately taken out, or if it's a woman protagonist. Either one.
I mean, there's a pretty simple answer to all of this. Just don't pre-order games anymore.
Yeah. Well, and that's my big thing too, is like I wait for somebody out there that has the resources and the money to play this game and find out about it. And that's what I wait for. People that I trust, you know, whether it be Az or whether it be, you know, a million of the other people out there that try these games that I'm like, okay, I trust your opinion. If you tell me the game's good, then it's a completely different situation. I'm like, you know, because here's the thing. There's a prime example of marketing over actual identity politics, right? Dungeons and Dragons that came out last year, the Den of Thieves or whatever the hell the game was, right? The marketing was woke as fuck when it came to that movie, right? But I had several people that I trust that said, you know what? They watched the movie. Guess what? There was none of that nonsense in there. It all makes sense. It was a great movie.
You don't trust me?
I absolutely do not trust you. I think you are way too easy on these things.
Way too easy on the eyes.
He's definitely not that.
Whoa. That fucking trailer for Den of Thieves looked like hot fucking garbage. That movie from wall to wall looked like nonsense.
I thought the trailer looked fun. I didn't get mad until the actors and the actresses came out and were like, yeah, it's identity politics. Yeah, women forward, yada, yada, yada. That's the only time I was like, okay, fuck this movie. I'm done. Is when they come out with marketing like that. I have an issue with that. If that's how you market things, then I have a real problem with that, because that means to me personally, that means you concentrated on those things versus other things. Fortunately enough, it seems like, and I still need to go back and watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie, but people that I trust said, hey, guess what? The woke marketing was completely wrong. That movie is not woke at all. It's great. It's a good time. And guess what? If somebody comes out there and tells me the exact same thing about whatever game Shags was playing, because they're right. There are certain elements about that trailer that I did find intriguing. The story concept, the universe, the world, and all that kind of stuff. But when your main protagonist in the game is a bald whatever you want to call them, you know, it's like, black. I'm sorry, that generally is a giant red flag for a lot of us out there.
I'm black.
Yeah, but we love you. We love you, Brahma. You're not a female. You're not
right.
Supposed
But
to
what we're getting at is, I mean, sure, we can report on what the red flags are or say, uh-oh, this kind of looks like this, but until you've actually played the game, it really doesn't matter.
Right. Like,
just like until you saw the movie, it really didn't matter because you ended up liking the movie.
That's why I don't do movie reviews. That's why I don't do game reviews. I just report on their numbers.
By the way,
how did you do? Did you succeed or did you fail? All
I got bad news.
2 = 4. That's all I care about.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves was produced by Paramount, so it does not count.
Oh,
exactly.
It's too small.
A lot of people liked it. A lot of people like the D&D. See, that's what I'm saying. The
You're
marketing
just bringing up one exception, Jesse. Just one.
I've written up like 6 examples now. I've written up like 6 exceptions now versus the 1,000 of examples that I've reported on and made videos on over the past 4 years. That was the direct opposite. I'm sorry. It's just like you study history because history repeats itself, right? It doesn't just rhyme. So it's like you learn this stuff and you become aware of these kind of things. And you're like, yeah, I'm not going to bother with it. I'm sorry. Avowed's creator had a complete and total meltdown on, you know, politics in the United States and everything else. And I'm like, I'm not going to buy your game. I'm not going to support somebody. I'm not going to keep you employed when you have a complete and total meltdown over stuff like this. When you go out there and intentionally say that I want this game to piss off Elon Musk, I'm not going to buy your fucking game, dude.
He's not going to fuck you, bro. Come on now.
Well, I don't really fucking care. I don't want to get pregnant with Elon's baby.
This is what I mean.
Out there that are pregnant with his baby. But look. When you come out and have a meltdown like that, when you come out and have a woke meltdown and go, I hope this game pisses off Elon Musk. I'm sorry. It was the same reason why I didn't support
the fucking Jesse.
What do you mean? Who cares? Okay, so you just said integrity of journalists.
He didn't just come in and slap your mother.
Integrity of game developers doesn't matter. Their opinions don't matter on things, but game journalists do.
No,
what? Like, so a guy behind a product that says, "I want you to die because you voted for Trump."
Has that been verified?
A game like that.
Has that been verified?
Well, was the game good?
I don't care. I heard Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was great. I'm not going to go out there and support a movie where the producers came out and said, I hope this game pisses off the chuds. I want to do this stuff because it's going to make them angry.
Oh,
But can't you come back with, it didn't piss me off. I enjoyed the fuck out of your movie.
I'm
So, like,
glad you did.
no, I'm not saying I
glad you
did. I'm
loved
saying,
it.
wouldn't that be the counter if the guy's like, I hope you hate it? And you're like, actually, I loved it. Aren't
That
you?
actually
Don't
sticks
you
out
No,
win?
because I'm not going to financially support somebody.
I'm not talking about
calls
you.
me
This
an
was a hypothetical person
Islamophobe.
and just seeing a hypothetical movie.
but listen, but here's the thing. Here's the flaw to your logic. The flaw to your logic is that one asshat had an opinion and said something that you didn't like.
It's
what
the
about
game designer.
what
It's the
about-
person in charge.
I got you. Let me finish, dude. Let me finish.
Yeah, I'm just
Chill. Then, but there's dozens of people who worked on a movie or they worked on the game that is getting put out, and then so if everyone follows your logic in this way, or most of the people follow your logic in this way, you're putting a bunch of innocent people out of a job because some idiot that you don't like said something annoying.
Okay, so basically what you're trying to say is that if a king of a country decides to, I don't know, go completely insane and, I don't know, devastate his entire country, that we should support him and we should pay money to him. We should give him money. We should give our tax dollars to him because
You're not handing your
There's
tax
all
dollars
of
over the lead developer.
right. Okay. But you're
money.
essentially saying I should take my hard-earned money and give it to a game where the guy in charge is completely and totally insane just to support all the people below him. So you're saying
not
leadership
required to
doesn't
give your
matter.
money to
You're
them.
saying leadership doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. So
You just
listen,
said all of the people below him are going to
Yeah.
suffer because he said dumb things.
Okay, first of
so
all,
what if the game
That's
is good, though?
leadership in every
was that,
corporation, every
Reagan?
company,
Just-
every society ever.
Jesse, hold on. Okay, so I think more of what he's saying is that, like, okay, you can have a leader that's being really stupid, but then you can have the people under him still working hard on the game, and it actually be a good game, even though the leader is saying stupid shit. And by telling people, okay, the leader's a stupid piece of shit, so don't buy the game, even though all these people worked really hard to make a game that was actually good and you would actually enjoy, all because of one person.
Yes, because I'm tired of people coming out there and thinking it's okay to say these kind of things and then still make money. I have a real issue with that. I don't want to support people that are going to spout this kind of political nonsense and try to advertise their game based on that kind of stuff. I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to support you continuing to say stupid shit. Because guess what? Words have consequences. And I as the consumer, I as the fan, have the choice to decide where my dollars go. And if Mark Hamill wants to come out and say Trump's the devil and he should die and everybody that supports him is a racist, guess
Mark
what?
Hamill.
I'm not going to support anything that Mark Hamill does anymore.
Just
And
so we're all
if you're-
clear, nobody is trying to force you to support these
yeah.
things, right? Because, like,
Right,
I mean, you're
Shaz
reacting as
just
though
said-
we're all
no,
here
Shaz
telling you.
just said- Shaz
that you
just
have
said
to?
I should buy the game even though the developer said dumb shit.
No. First of all, I'm trying to like walk through this with you and also get like what you're saying and understand what you're saying and also provide my own like counterpoints along the way. You should vote with your wallet. You should do what you want. Like, totally
Sure.
fine. That's
Agreed.
how companies rise and fall. Put out a good product, people will follow. You put out a shit product, people will not buy it.
I think
And I think people need to be careful. Like when you're in a public position, you definitely need to be careful with what you say. It's one of my biggest criticisms of Trump. I think more often than not, he needs to shut his fucking mouth.
I also think in 2 years, the average layman is just gonna care about whether or not a game is good and not whether or not a game has any sort of woke people working on it. And
honestly,
they're only gonna watch the videos that are like, hey, is the game good or not? That's all I want to hear. Oh, yes, good. Okay, I'm gonna go buy it.
great point. And I will add on to that saying like most people aren't plugged into the drama like we are. And I even said a couple weeks ago, like a lot of this internal strife and like shit has happened for decades and you didn't know about it because social media didn't exist in this way. Wait, what? No one's forcing you. Meanwhile, I quote you have to force.
This is from game creatives and this is from game journalists that they said you have to put this stuff into games in order to change people's behavior. There are literally entire speeches from people, from activists inside of the gaming community, whether it be Sweet Baby Inc., whether it be other people out there that literally said this. We are going to change gaming in order to force the behavior of gamers to change. That's why they put identity politics in these games. They literally said that out loud at major speeches and major conferences.
So they said the quote is, "No one's forcing you, but you have to force." I
can probably find the articles if I really dug deep enough, but I remember
Pretty sure
reading
what he's
them.
saying is nobody's forcing you to buy it. Meanwhile, the game developers are saying you have to force behaviors.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
Which is
It's the same thing inside of video games. It's
That's
the exact same
same
thing.
thing that the dude from BlackRock said.
Larry Fink.
Also, yep, Larry Fink. I've got that clip out. It's also, to be specific to video games, the guy who was in charge of Spider-Man 2 openly admitted putting in shit that he knew people weren't going to like to force him to do it.
Yep, exactly.
What are they forcing people to do? Sorry.
In this particular instance, it's Mary Jane fucking missions.
Well, and not only that, but what was the Spider-Man 2? What was you had to go do the trans graffiti on a wall?
Right,
Was a required mission?
Right. In the context of this particular interview that he was doing was Spider-Man 2, and it was about the Mary Jane missions.
Okay.
Yeah.
King says,
Well, like I
so
said,
here's how the consumer deals with that. Stop buying their shit games. Or continue to while being discerning and knowing what you're getting into. Yeah, I think that's totally a fair.
And that's my whole argument is if they come out here and say that it's all about identity politics and they say that, you know what, we're trying to push an agenda in this game or in this movie or in this television show, then guess what? I'm not going to waste my time or money spending $70 to review your game just to go, hey, guess what? It's also woke and broken and buggy as fuck. I'm just not going to bother.
Right. I think we're talking about the good games, though.
Yeah, and that, like,
we're talking about all games.
And I'm not even, again, that's fine. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm saying that if people are choosing to, who want to be a part of, like, even something bigger and want to make a real difference in, like, the space, it needs to gravitate away from the identity politics and more center around the game. I do know that the identity, like, I'm not stupid. I know that sometimes identity politics is so heavy in these games, and that can be like something mentioned. Of course, I'm not saying you can't mention it at all, but I would challenge people to really, like, dig into, like, actual reviews of games and try to ignore that stuff, because again, you are better than that. You don't need it. You don't need that in order to say a game is good or bad. And, like, you could clown me all you want.
It still needs to be mentioned. It still needs to be mentioned.
You could have a review of a game.
Because if you're,
you can have a review of a game and it just be focusing on the game and how good of a game it is. And then you can also make a video that highlights, okay, there's my review. Now here's my criticism of this, and this that are, like, about the studio, about the people working on the game, about the political side of it.
Right.
You can kind of take a time to just, like, kind of separate the two. It's like, okay, was it a good game? Yes, it was a good game. Now here's my video on, like, criticizing these things. And I've seen, like, there are companies that will, like, do things that are kind of similar to that. Like, recently I saw, like, a tech company was talking about they got given graphics cards, by the way, like, to review for the new 5070 Ti's, and they're like, they took the time to review it, but they also took the time to be like, hey, this whole idea of that they're going to be selling these graphics cards at MSRP, which is supposed to be like $750, is a complete lie. It's like they took the time to make that video, and then they took the time to actually do the review of the graphics card. And it's like, so it's just like separating the two things.
Yeah, no, totally.
Do that.
Well,
which is also another example of, hey, we're going to criticize something and we're going to be very negative towards it, but we also got review cards.
Well, and it's and Professor Savage Dad.
Later, Savage.
I've got to give
But that's why-
Savage Dad an update before we go on further. So the
Make it
story that I've been telling in the background here, the cork broke. I used a corkscrew to get it out. This is Weller Antique 107. It's about $100 to $120 bottle.
Jesus.
It's horrible. It's ruined.
Oh, that's
Ugh.
Horrible, ruined.
Ruined. It's bad.
you're like Abed in Community, where he had that whole arc where he like helped deliver the baby in the background of the episode. Only Community fan here. Okay, well, missing out, guys.
I saw it. But yeah, Professor Savage Dad was wanting to see me pour it, and sadly, I did pour it, and it is ruined. It apparently got air in it because the cork went dry.
Oh, that's
It's a sad day.
Bummer,
That
dude.
is a very sad
That
day.
I mean, he has 7 more bottles, either here or at the the Brahma Estate. They have a whole cellar full.
I mean, I'm still going to
I have a
drink
glass in here.
but
I don't.
I was going to say, yeah, release from the Kraken S. Will it still get you drunk? I mean, that's the important part. Right?
How
Is it still
dare
gonna warm
how
you
dare
up in
you
that cold
even
ass-
how dare you even
This is
think
pretty
about
good,
having
too.
him drink something so below him?
That's
We're
right.
talking about Brahma.
Brahma's the fucking elitist around here.
That
when it
shit ain't
comes to the
$200 a bottle. He don't want it. That's for
I
gross,
drink
poor
Kessler's
people.
whiskey. It's
Unquote.
$17.99. But no, it's like I said, it's just like I said, there's a lot of problems with a lot of this kind of stuff. And you're right. If you want to do a legitimate video game review of something, and it's one of those things, it's like, I do videos all the time. I don't have to do videos reviewing the games because the numbers don't deny anything. You know what I mean? I can talk about your numbers all day long and never have to review a game. You know what I mean? Because guess what? The audience at the end of the day decides, right? The fans are the ones that decide whether or not something succeeds and fails. I've made this argument a million times. I'm a fan of fans, right? I'm more than anything, I'm a fan of fans. I love nerds and geeks being excited about something and being up for something. I've been talking about, you Shags, you say we all do negative things. I've been talking about Daredevil Born Again since the very beginning of the rumors, that I'm cautiously optimistic for it. I think it might actually end up being good. We're going to do a review of it on my show on Thursday nights. When it comes out, we're going to do a review of it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to watch it. We're going to give it a legitimate chance, just like we did with Creature Commandos. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to spend $70 on a game like Avowed and go through it and actually critique everything that's wrong with it. But what I can do is go through there and
see,
go,
this is part of my issue. I'm going to stop you right there.
well, my only thing is, let me finish real quick. My only thing is, I can still criticize the numbers. I can still tell you, without playing the game, I can still tell you whether something succeeded or failed. I don't have to go watch Captain Black America to know whether or not it succeeded or failed. And it's the same thing. I don't have to play Avowed to tell you whether or not it succeeded or failed.
Those are
You know
two
what I mean? The
entirely
numbers
different things.
allow. No, they're
But
not.
you're also
Yes,
saying
video games
two-
and movies are entirely different when it
No,
comes
they're-
to whether
they're-
or not they fail. Absolutely.
No, they're really not, especially with the amount of money that they spend on these video games nowadays. It's really not.
But the lifespan of a game, as far as making money, far exceeds what a movie is capable of making.
Okay, so if a game like Dragon Age Veilguard crashed within a month, if like a game like Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League ends up literally
You're
shutting
just
down
talking. That's
90
two exceptions. Those are two exceptions to what we're talking about. We're talking
Okay,
about
so
games
90
that are
90
successful enough to continue and have DLCs that people pay for far down the road, right?
Okay, those are games without
transactions and
identity.
DLCs.
Yeah, oh yay, microtransactions. That's always a fun thing that everybody
It
wants to
makes
do.
Wasn't
money,
like-
doesn't it?
What makes money?
Oh, isn't Suicide
Oh,
Squad?
I
like a
agree
live
with you.
service
That's
game?
why GTA 5 is so service. What?
Path of
What'd you say, Randy?
Exile.
Like Suicide Squad's a live service game, so
It
like
was.
that one. Yeah, the thing is, like that one lived for like a year before it got shut down.
Yeah,
I
they
don't think
announced
made
they
it.
announced it shut down about 3 months prior to like the year post.
And it's a
Think of it
game that
again.
you have to that needed people because it's a live service. They had to pay for servers and stuff. So I feel like that's a bad example. And
Well,
they
the
still had a
the
year.
initial games numbers were bad as well, and it just got worse because every DLC was, "Hey, guess what? We're gonna give you Mr. Freeze, except he's gonna be a woman and black and from another planet, and he's gonna be a lesbian."
Yep.
So
But
it's
like
like,
that-
oh
but then
yeah, let me go scramble out to get that DLC. I can't
Well,
wait to pay for
What about
that.
Fallout
But then the
76?
other 9,000 games that came out
Right.
in 2024 that didn't do that.
and the ones that are
Right,
from
and those
bigger
are great.
state
There's a lot of
studios
indie
than
games.
Paramount.
Choo Choo Charlie's great. Power World's great.
Fallout
Helldivers was
76
great.
is
Right.
a great example of a game that failed when it initially came out, but they have done so much work, and there are so many DLCs that they have put out that cost money to buy, along with all kinds of other options for them to buy. They have actually turned into a success.
What about that space game?
So-
There's like that space game that was also a failure. That
No
No
Absolutely.
Man's Sky.
No Man's
Yeah,
Sky.
you're
Yeah.
right. But No Man's Sky still, it was just like Cyberpunk. It's a team that worked on it forever after initial launch, but you'll never get back
Right.
those numbers.
Right,
that
but
you
we're
got
making the
if
same
you would've gotten
argument
the-
You're right. They didn't make back those
in
numbers. They
reverse that
exceeded
we
them.
made with you earlier.
Yeah,
You are
that
now
is the
bringing
game
up
that
the
you-
exceptions to the rule. So
Right.
that's the exact
Right,
opposite
but
of what we were
that's because
talking
I
about
haven't got
earlier.
That's because I haven't got a chance to bring up the 5,000 the actual rule, the 5,000.
No, what I'm
examples of
saying
the
is
rule.
we just did the exact opposite to you. You just brought us up like 4 or 5 exceptions to this rule. There were like 9,000 good games last year. There were a few that crashed. The games are
Right,
just as
AAA
capable of making money into the future.
My point was to
That's
show
indie
how
studios,
different
not
it is when
AAA
we're talking about
studios.
movies and video games. They are not
Elden
the
Ring.
same.
And
They
also
are.
within
This.
movies, Cream NATO makes
Really?
a good point.
Did you not
which
just
I was
listen to
going
anything
Hold
we
on,
just said,
Matt.
Jesse?
Matt, hold on. Cream NATO makes a good point that I was going to bring up is that even within games, single player and MMOs and multiplayer live service games
Yeah.
need to be judged completely differently.
Live service is completely
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah, it's an ongoing development. MMOs are the same thing. They're ongoing, but even the development cycles of MMOs are different from live service. And then single players, obviously. And Avowed is another one that is a single player game that doesn't have an explosive audience the way some did, but it's still a single player game that is essentially not exclusive to Microsoft, but it's like Steam and an Xbox right now is what it's on.
I think Marvel
Night Sonya.
Rivals is
Night Sonya.
Night Sonya. Marvel Rivals is a great example. Marvel Rivals
what?
is a great example of doing the Marvel universe right and actually giving fans what they want. The character designs are incredible. Everybody loves them. It's literally replaced Overwatch. And how did they do it? Well, they gave you attractive character models that actually looked very similar to what they looked like in the comics. Whether it be male or female, they're very attractive. Everything looks great. The game is fun. My son's been absolutely addicted to the game. I played it for about 6 hours. I had a blast of a time with it. And guess what? The girls are curvy. They look great. The suits are awesome. The guys look great. Everything looks great. It's the direct opposite of every single thing we've seen in the Western video game studio. It's sad that a Chinese video game studio has done a better job than Western studios at giving people what they want. Because Marvel
Well,
Rivals
except for all
is-
the other games that have been successful over the past couple of years. Also, real quick, what does that
Which
have to do
examples?
with comparing movies and video games? Because until Captain Falcon Winter Soldier, whatever the fuck his name is, comes out with some DLCs and microtransactions, there is no comparison between that and a movie. I mean, in a
games
game.
and movies that are successful at the beginning will continue to go on being successful.
But
If they are
that does not
successful
mean
at the
games
beginning-
that are failures at the beginning cannot or they are incapable
They can
of
be
becoming
patched.
successful later on, unlike movies. That's the difference.
Yeah,
Falcon
movies have
Captain America has no
I
chance to
understand
be
where you're coming
successful.
from. I
How much
understand
did
where you're
Marvel
coming
Rivals
from.
cost?
Oh, I have no idea. I'd have to
Marvel
look it up.
Rivals is free.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's free. Right. And so is Overwatch.
Oh.
And so is watching something on Disney Plus if you already have the subscription.
But then
And so
that's
is
not
something to watch-
free.
Okay.
It's not. You said it with a subscription. That means it's not free. But it seems as though their expectations for that
Marvel
game to be
Rivals has
successful
DLC and all kinds of
are measured in other
microtransactions and
ways
all kinds
other
of stuff.
than game sales on day one. Like what
Yeah,
we have
that's
been
what
saying
we've
the
been
whole
saying
time.
this whole time.
Outside of GTA 5, what has ever really become beyond profitable
Fortnite.
of the original? Okay, Fortnite, another free-to-play game.
Overwatch.
Yeah, which is now dead because of Marvel Rivals.
Destiny 2.
That doesn't mean it wasn't successful.
Who's still
It's been
playing
out
Destiny
forever.
2?
Again, just because
Yeah.
we're not playing
It
now
just
doesn't
really
released
mean
like
DLC
20
last year. There's a ton of people that played it all last year.
It was still will never equal out the numbers. Okay, find me a game that has gotten better numbers on its DLC or its updates than what it got from its initial
Are these
launch.
is this field goal even on the field anymore? They have been moved so far back.
Well, I mean, if you're
Look,
talking about total investment from the consumer, like
Field goal
across all
post.
DLCs, every game that has DLC is going to beat the initial release. Like WoW would be the example. Like
Oh, WoW's
WoW's
a great
initial
example.
numbers are, like they were good, but that game has been in development, not development. It's been going for 20 plus years. Elder Scrolls Online's another one. Like
More
people can
recent,
say all they want.
Elden Ring
GTA
sold a
5?
crap ton of games.
Yeah.
Then it
GTA.
started to tail off. Then they brought in the DLC. They not only sold more of the base game again, but they sold a crap ton of the DLC. Not as much as they sold of the base game, because there were some people that just weren't going to come back. But
Well,
And
and,
actually-
and to
Well,
use-
Same
it's a
thing
whole
with
new
GTA
life for
5.
it. It's a whole new life for it, just like when a movie used to go to the theater
Right.
and it got
DVD.
paid once, and
Or
then it went
VHS.
to DVD or
was a
VHS
whole nother market.
6 to 8 months later. That was a whole nother infusion. DLC is the same thing. You don't
And-
have that with movies anymore.
And Jesse, to
Right, but
give you
you're-
an example that you talked about, Cyberpunk 2077. The moment they released that expansion, the DLC,
Phantom
it,
Liberty.
it essentially revived Cyberpunk.
I would
'Cause
even
there-
argue that Cyberpunk Edge Runners on Netflix revived
Right.
the
which is
Cyberpunk game
also,
too.
which is also like another way that they were able to make money off of off the IP to kind of
But
recuperate.
But
It
that's what
still
Matt is
also
saying.
falls-
There's
It's
it
a
still
s-
falls-
video games and movies are a separate medium. They are
Mhm.
judged
But it-
completely differently because they can
it-
completely change and they can have a new life.
they can have a new life, but it will it's just like a weekend box office drop from a movie. It's like, yeah, it might revitalize the game, it might bring people back to it. Like, trust me, I want to play Phantom of Liberty Phantom of Liberty with Cyberpunk very, very much. But it's also not going to give you what you got on your opening weekend. You are always going to face a negative return going forward, no matter what you do.
Wait,
If your initial product is crap, it is not going to make a difference significantly, no matter how much you do.
no, you said a
update.
negative. You would get a negative return. How is that possible? That
You're going to get a negative return because you're not going to get all of those millions of people that would have been there on launch.
Well, I
You're
guess
never-
what do you,
I guarantee you, Phantom of Liberty did not outsell Cyberpunk 2077.
but I'm confused. in what
that's
you
not a
mean.
measurement of success, though. You can't be like, well, the Dallas Cowboys have five Super Bowls. Until you have 5 Super Bowls, you're not a success. You're a failure. That makes no sense. You can't be like, well, this game was a super fucking amazing success. Therefore, anything that doesn't reach that pinnacle is a failure.
So
I mean,
That's
there's
not how that works.
there's
Destiny
NES
2
games that are
okay,
still
well-
making money because they just keep
Well, negative
re-releasing
money.
them with every system.
Okay,
and
mean,
Destiny
cool.
2, for an example, like there was expansions, like, so everyone thought the initial release of Destiny 2 was garbage, and that while there's a lot of players, like I would argue that the Forsaken DLC or even the Witch Queen DLC probably rivaled that in its sales and player base. And not to
But
mention
can
the
you prove
lifespan
that?
of the game. Probably. I mean, I'm sure I could look at what those numbers were. But even still, over the lifetime of its DLC, it's held, I think, up until the last expansion, it was holding like 90,000 or more concurrent players on average
Okay.
on
Is there
Steam alone.
Is
And
there
it's not a,
anybody?
it's
Is there anybody that think Avowed is going to do that in 6
no,
months?
no,
from
I
now?
don't, yeah, but it's a completely, but it's a
Who
single
cares?
player game
That's
versus
what we
a live
started- that's what
service
we
game.
started out talking about was Avowed. Is Avowed going to do that in 6 months?
I don't know. So here's the difference
Sure, they-
again. I'll even say again the big difference with Avowed in a lot of games is that it's a niche game already in its single player style. Like, so it wasn't meant for a giant audience anyway. It's not an Elder Scrolls IP. Pillars of Eternity was not an Elder Scrolls IP. I think this is meant to get people into the lore a little bit more, but I I don't think this is meant to have 90,000 players. I mean, I hope it has that many people. I want to see people like play it. It's not that bad, but like,
dude, that's really bad. If you have to go, it's not that bad. Like that's not exactly not exactly a great praise.
It's not going to win
video
awards.
game.
It's good game.
Not a bad though either.
It's
not a bad game. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a
Black
mid
Adam
game.
wasn't a bad movie.
Wait, what wasn't?
Black Adam wasn't a bad movie. It was a bad Black Adam movie. It was a great JSA movie. It doesn't mean that Avowed, Avowed might be a fine game, but it's not going to be Elder Scrolls. You know, it's just like what you guys said earlier.
That's
not the goalpost. All we said, this is just like an 80s or 90s movie that cost $10 to $12 million to make versus the ones that were costing $100 to $150 million to make. Some of them are not meant to be blockbusters. They're just meant to hit that niche.
You know what this movie is?
I just hope that Obsidian was smart enough to not spend $300 billion on this game.
I doubt they did.
What I hope. I hope not.
So
they rarely spend more than 80 to 100.
Avowed is the Glengarry Glen Ross of video games. If you know what that movie is, no one probably here understands that reference.
What movie?
Glengarry Glen Ross.
Glengarry, yeah.
So that is the kind of game this is. Glengarry Glen Ross is a very slept on movie. It was a Broadway play. It is really good. It has an awesome cast. You should watch it. But not many people know about it and have seen it. Avowed is very similar to this. The lore and the world that it's built around is good and people appreciate it. It's probably not going to be seen by very many people or appreciated in the way that is expected. I think that's how some of it is. And I said it earlier, people's idea of success with their games is a little bit different. Yes, they want to make money, like obviously. Like no one's going to like look at a movie that they didn't make their budget and go, oh, we succeeded. You know, I'm sure they would say, oh, you know, we came up short, we failed if they don't make back their money. But like, we first of all, we can't compare Avowed to any sort of online game because it's not. So I don't know. I hope Avowed does well. It's that bad. It's not a bad game. The game plays well. The reason I say that is because I'm not plugged into the Pillars of Eternity lore in the world. Like if I were actually the more I was talking with Disparity about it, the more I thought, oh, like I kind of want to like learn about this world. I kind of want to I wish I had some like comic books or an audio book to go along with what was happening because it sounds like it would be a good story.
So let me ask you something, Shags. Are you willing to support a game and a game creative company that literally tells you that they hate your guts and think you're a racist and a phobe?
Well, wait, sorry, say that one more time.
So let me ask you, are you willing to support a game where the people in charge of that game call you an ist and a phobe just because of who you supported electorally for the election? Are you willing to financially support somebody who says that you're an ist and a phobe because you voted for Trump?
So should we pull out of almost every part of the market if you're on the right?
If your game developer and your marketing team is saying those things, yes.
If your movie developer is saying that, if your food distributor is saying that, if your beer distributor is
saying that,
yes, because we saw what happened to Bud Light, we saw what happened to other things and other products in the past. Is that blows up in their faces? And I'm sorry, it's just like I said, it's just the same thing with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I know a lot of people love those movies, a lot of people enjoyed them, but when I heard the directors and the writers involved in that game going, "We hope this pisses off the fucking Trump supporters,"
dude, that's your prerogative.
I'm not going to support
listen,
your movie. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spend my money on your shit. I'm just not going to.
So the way this transaction.
Let me hold on for a second. The reason why I am not going to do that is because I don't want my video game developers, I don't want my producers, I don't want my Hollywood executives, I don't want my actors, I don't want my game developers, I don't want any of them spouting politics. I want you to shut the fuck up and give me a good game.
See,
That's
I
all
kind
I
of agree with
want.
that. I want a
don't
quality
want
game.
you
I
to
don't
talk
give a
about your
fuck what they
politics.
Hold on.
think or what they believe. I just want a quality product.
Hold on. Yeah, and that's what I've been arguing for.
Okay, then fine. Let them continue making money off of their while they spout their politics, continue letting them make enough money, continue paying them, continue.
Is it a
supporting their
quality
salaries
product?
while they push all of that nonsense?
Is it a quality product?
I don't
You just
care.
said all
I'm
you care
not
about
going
is
to
if there's a
support
quality
somebody.
game.
Hold on.
I don't care if I don't care if they're going to push, if they're going to come out in their marketing, if they're going to come out on their social media and go, I fucking hate over half of the country. Guess what? I'm not going to buy your shit. Because like Michael Jordan said, Republicans buy shoes too.
Jesse,
Yeah, they're good shoes.
hold on.
And
Everyone
he
be quiet
admitted
for a
it was
second.
joke.
This is how transactions work when it comes to a video game. I see a game that I want. I say, ooh, that looks cool. I take out my wallet or I apply my card to some digital storefront and I give that person money. And then that money goes somewhere else that I don't know. And it filters through 1,000 different things. And eventually someone gets money. What doesn't happen is I don't take out my wallet and go up to the CEO and hand him any sort of money. Now, I understand that a few pennies probably make it from my transaction to him eventually, and he gets those. Or maybe it's more than a few pennies. We're not going to argue about that.
Right. I don't care about that.
So am I going to buy a product if someone said, yeah, because he didn't hurt my feelings by saying that. I think he's wrong. End of story. The game looks playable enough to me. I'm going to play it. End of story.
But why are you going to support somebody that hates
hold
you?
on. You got to
All
speak.
right.
Everybody hates us.
If you
Not everybody hates
again,
us.
I have to throw your logic back in your face. Like by you saying I don't want to hear his political opinions. Well, dude, then just make a quality product on YouTube. Don't give anyone your political opinions. Don't talk about anything. Just make a good piece of content about Doctor Who, about whatever.
Like you said,
see what I'm saying? Your logic falls apart
commentator.
because
No, it doesn't, because I'm a commentator. My job is not to review these things. My job is to comment on what these people say. Right? I want to know what these people think. I want to know what these people say. I want to know what their opinions are.
Don't
And
you do
guess
weekly
what?
reviews?
If they hate my guts, I'm not going to support them.
but
I'm
they don't
just
hate
not.
your guts.
They said that all Trump supporters are racist
Who
and
is they?
and
Dude, it's
homophobic.
hyperbole. It's hyperbole.
Who's they?
Okay, guess what? Your words still have consequences.
I know.
Like,
yes.
I don't get why that
so-
doesn't
oh,
bug
goodness.
you.
Listen. I mean,
Like,
I'm
that
trying to
boggles
save
my
you. I'm trying to
mind.
save you a headache in a way because
You're not saving me a headache. I'm not going to fucking bother with this shit.
you don't.
I mean,
you don't
every
have to,
single
obviously.
purchase you make using a credit card or debit card, you're giving 3.5% of that purchase to a company that hates you because MasterCard and Visa
Right.
don't like the right. So no matter what purchase you're making, it's going to go into somebody's pocket that doesn't like you.
I gotta be
I mean-
honest.
Right, I get
Part of
that,
the
but
reason
if I
why
have a-
we
if I have a
served in the
company that's coming-
military is to protect things like freedom of speech. So I'm happy. I am blessed to live in a country where people can say I fucking hate you because you voted for so and so. That's cool, bro. I'm glad that you get to say this. Is that a good quality product? Cool. I'm getting those Nikes. You know what I mean?
I'm just not going. I'm not going to come out. I'm not going to come out and I'm not going to financially support somebody
That's
who tells me
fine.
they hate my guts and wish me to die.
You don't
I'm
have
nobody's
to. but
making
the thing
you.
is he's not telling you that. He is upset with people's he's upset with the most
Oh.
extreme sides of politics.
Right.
It doesn't likely
What,
apply to
is
you.
he
First
calling
of all,
out the left extremists?
If Bob
is he
Knight
calling out the
calls
people
me,
that burned? Is he calling out people that burned cities for a fucking year over
Jesse.
the George Floyd riots?
I
I
Is
don't
he
know. You
calling-
only reported on the one
pushing
thing you
back
said.
against people that literally locked us down and caused my friends to lose their businesses? Is he calling any of those people out, or is he only calling us who
I
go against his identity politics and call us racists and phobes?
I
That's
think-
my problem.
I think
That's my problem. There's no middle ground with these people.
Well, there's a difference. If Bob
Maybe.
Knight calls me and was like, "Hey, Mad," because that's my name, so that's what he would call me. I fucking hate you. I want you to die. well, damn, dude, I'm not gonna buy Nikes anymore. But if he's like, oh, and I don't know Bob Nye believes this or not, I doubt it. He seems like a Trump guy. But if he's like, oh, all Republicans are garbage, blah blah blah, that's a weird take. That's probably gonna hurt your bottom line. Anyways, I like these new Jordans or whatever. I don't have any Nikes, but you get the point though. There's a difference between somebody threatening me personally, specifically, directly, than some fucking
I would say Jesse,
hyperbolic fucking spill. Yeah.
If you came across this guy in the mall and like you had like your Trump shirt on and he walked up to you and said, fuck you, you fucking F, you know, like, and you were like, what the hell, bro? And he said, you and every motherfucker wearing that shirt, especially you should die. Yes. Then you should never support his game. He didn't do that.
He accused us all of being racists and homophobes. He accused every Trump supporter. He accused every Trump supporter of being a racist and a homophobe, and yet you still bought his game. Okay, sure.
Who?
Avowed.
Oh, I didn't buy it. I have it on Game Pass.
Oh yeah, I got Game Pass.
Okay, well, so you spent money on so you gave money to Microsoft, who owns the company, which means that money is going to filter down to
You're
him.
not going to win.
Who runs the operating system of the computer you're using right now?
Yeah, you're not going to win this one for that reason. You have a cell phone. You support slavery in third world countries. Like, we're not going to go down this road.
Windows 10, Windows 11 doesn't
That's
matter.
what I've been trying to
trickle
say.
down.
Every transaction is going to, at some point, get to a corporation that does not like a good portion of this country.
A serious man makes a great point. A serious man makes a great point. I'm not going to buy your fucking coffee just because we may align. Our politics may align at some point, and you may invite me on your stream, Cord Black Garrett. I don't know if does he have coffee? Doesn't matter. The point is, if it's shit coffee, I'm not gonna buy it just because we're buzzed.
Quarter black roast.
I've never bought a damn thing. I haven't even hit the bell. And Brahma and me, we're closer than anybody. I doubt I'm even subscribed.
I'm sure you're not subscribed.
Come on.
I'm a member. Shut up.
Yeah, it's true.
But the point is, though, a serious man made a great point in the chat though about don't buy crappy products just because the company supports your politics. It's the same thing.
Yes.
Right. And I completely agree with on that one. I completely agree with that too. But it's one of those situations. If you're going to tell me I'm a bastard, which I am, for like voting for Trump, I'm not going to buy your fucking game. I'm just not. I'm not going to bother with it.
That's okay. I'm just, again, we're just having the banter back and forth of what we think is good and bad and all that. Like, I think I find it constructive to overlook political differences. It's why I do my TikTok debates. Like, I'll sit there and give someone the grace and talk, even though all they want to do is shout at me, you know?
But you're not giving them
platforming them that could be just as dangerous.
Oh, I mean, but essentially I am though, Jesse. If I really wanted to like get rid of these people, I would ignore them. I would block them on the socials. By me being on there, I'm giving them fuel to talk for people to donate to them. So I am. I'm giving
platforming.
They're getting money because I'm there.
Yeah, and they're not there to listen to you at all.
Yeah.
Nope.
Who cares what
Not in the least. And that's my problem. There's a great biblical line. At some point you have to dust off your shoes and move on. And I'm not gonna waste my time roasting.
You sure you didn't get that from a fortune cookie?
Well, there's a time to gather stones, and there's a time to toss them.
They didn't have shoes.
Yeah, and it's one of them situations where it's like, I'm not going to pay $70 for a game to people that clearly hate me. Like, why? Why am I going to do that? I'm not going to bother reviewing your game. I'm going to roast your game based on your numbers and the fact that you failed financially and everything else. Because guess what? 2 + 2 still equals 4. So you can love the game all you want. You can love Acolyte all you want. You can love any of the rest of these shows all you want. But at the end of the day, the math still equals the math. And you failed.
By the way, don't you think it's kind of a win if they're like, "Oh, I hate you. My game's not for you," and you play the game, you're like, "Damn, this is a lot of fun. I'm having fun. Oh, I can't
100%
enjoying my game."
Yeah, 100%. That's an absolute huge win.
I'm not going to pay salaries to people that hate me. I'm just not going to.
You're not. That's the thing. You're not.
Well, by not buying Avowed, I'm not going to pay salaries to people that hate me. So I know I'm not going to play the game, and I'm not going to review it like you guys all want. I'm going to review the numbers.
No, I don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do. I'm just saying that you're not paying anyone's salary by by getting Game Pass for a month.
Yes,
Like,
you are.
You wouldn't be. But
What?
it would be like, again, it would be a fraction of a penny if like you really wanted to break it down.
And that's still a fraction of a which once again leads back to the fact that why Game Pass is no different than streaming, because it doesn't give you the money or the numbers that selling a game.
And that once again leads down the path of, if you're not willing to give a fraction of a penny to anybody who hates you, then you can't do any transactions within this country. Any.
Right. And guess what? I can still go out there, and the people that are marketing things to say that they fucking hate me versus Discover and MasterCard are a little bit different.
Well,
They're
because
unbanking
one's less
people.
convenient to say that you're against than the other, right?
Riken, were you going to say something? I thought you were going to speak up there, but maybe you're.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
I mean, it's
No, I
easy to
hate
be
that.
a
That's
rebel
the
when you're like, oh, I'm not going to get Game Pass avowed because he said he hated me, but I'm still going to use my MasterCard because it'd be a lot more difficult if I didn't do that.
But I also look
it's
at
very
it.
choosy on where you're going to be the rebel.
It's the same reason why we all oppose Chinese slavery. We all still have iPhones and Androids. Welcome to the Western
That's
world.
exactly the point we're making.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you can still avoid adding even more to that by not buying fucking games by people that tell you that they fucking hate you. Like,
I've never had a game developer tell me they hated me.
have you not watched any of the posts from Avowed? Or
Was I
from
tagged in it?
Okay, so apparently this guy said on
Jesus.
Blue Sky,
Thank
the art director Matt Hansen said he stated that he wanted supporters of Donald Trump, and I quote, to feel the sting of shame for the rest of their putrid lives.
Well, that's
art
so
director.
vague. What does it even mean? The sting of shame. Is there something specifically I'm supposed to be ashamed of?
Yes, you voted for Trump,
This
you
big
fucking
dick?
Yeah,
fascist.
you racist, you fascist, you sexist, you everything else.
So the
Oh,
art director
okay.
said that. So if, some low-level management person says something at Walmart, then we're just done.
Brahma, you're in charge of your own business, right? If one of your employees came out and said that, hey, we're not going to take any more insurance policies from anybody that's not woke, what would you do to them, Brahma?
Oh, I feel that's going to violate some federal laws somewhere.
Yeah, sounds like
A, that, and B, do you know how many of the insurance companies? Because I own my agency. I don't own the insurance company. Every insurance company in this country is at the top of the DEI checklist.
Right.
They're up in the Fortune 500 with every other DEI company.
Yep.
You could not buy insurance if you don't want to go into DEI.
rest in peace,
Okay.
Jake from State Farm.
Mm-hmm. And
Right,
IRS with all their DEI
Yeah,
shit,
boy.
that's why I don't pay taxes. Fuck them. I'm a rebel.
But
So
like,
the only other thing that I could find that the guy called Trump supporters were brown shirts.
which if you know what, if
And
you know the
everybody's
history
called
behind-
that us. Everybody's
and if
called
you
us
know
that.
the- and if you know the history behind brown shirts, you know how much of a fucking insult that actually is.
Look, not everybody
So-
looks good in brown. I'm sorry. All right. It's just not my color.
What is so? I'll plead ignorance here. What does that mean?
Okay, so the brown shirts were the Nazis SS prior to
The
World War
SS.
II. Yeah, and they were what came upon it. So the brown shirts was actually a story of the Night of Long Knives, which is actually where essentially the old argument with communism is that we have the political stupid people, right? And so the brown shirts essentially were the Nazi Gestapo that
Right.
Hitler has eventually abolished because they killed too many people and they did all these other things that were politically bad viewership wise for him.
On
And
the
they were-
YouTubes.
well, you know what I mean, but like back then.
Were
and
they
it
the
was
swing
like-
dancers?
No,
Cream
they
NATO is
were-
making the next point that I was going to make in the chat.
Or swing kids?
It's the art director's opinion. It's one person. And unless they're speaking directly on behalf of the company, that is the reason why I stay anonymous on YouTube, so that I can say things like I like Trump and things like that, because I'm still allowed to have a personal opinion outside of what my business does.
Right.
Unless he's
and-
speaking directly to you on behalf of the company, that is his personal opinion, and he is perfectly able to have that opinion.
And I'm happy that he
Does that
he lives in a
represent
place that
the
can do it.
opinion of every single person in that company?
No, that's my point.
But if they're willing to speak, if they're allowed to speak out,
I'm willing to
and
say
the
a lot of
corp- and the
things
corp-
online.
and the corporation does nothing about it, then that means
So I should lose my job if they do find out that I speak on behalf of Trump, because my company may not agree with that. You're going into the lines of censorship that we have said
No.
are completely right. Individuals should be allowed to have their own opinions.
and
They are not the
Jesse's
Right.
corporation.
Not when they're not.
Jesse's just
when
saying
they're-
that they don't
not
have to
when
buy
they're trying to
insurance from
promote
you.
a game.
What? No.
He's not
What if they're
promoting a
promoting
game. He's on
insurance?
freaking Libs of Blue Sky, or on Blue Sky, not Libs
Yeah.
of Blue Sky.
It's
That's
not
just
to
where
tell
I
you
find all the
everything
Blue
you
Sky
need to know
stuff.
about the entire fucking development team behind the fucking thing.
Well, and I would
If
also
they're on Blue
argue.
Sky, that tells you everything you need to know.
I would also
So the
ar-
fact that my 5 managers above me I know are all flaming leftists means that I'm automatically a leftist because I'm in that same chain of command. I
I've
mean,
had my suspicions.
you're not hearing
You're-
yourself, I
you're-
don't think.
that would be
No,
a
no,
choice.
no.
The
You're
rabbit
still
hole-
paying to make sure that they all get their jobs.
Yeah, but the rabbit hole.
And
going
people
down that
pay
rabbit
my
hole,
company and I get to keep my job because I'm not a leftist.
We don't
Where I
want
can
to go
go.
down that rabbit hole of firing people because they have a political opinion that we don't agree with.
Not worried about
Like
that.
we,
Correct.
because look, it's going to get used against people on the right. We
Remember
don't
when-
want people on the right getting fired because they have a political opinion that people on the left don't like.
In fact, it's more often been used against the right over the past 10 years. That's what we've been fighting against. We
Yeah.
don't want to start doing it to the left. I mean, that's not the fight we need.
I know people want justice and they think justice is fire a bunch of people because they said something, but
Mhm.
that's not the way through. And I think at this point, if you don't realize that, you might be beyond saving. Like, people can have their opinions on stuff. You might not like it. Again, like, yeah, sure, you could have consequences for the things you say, but like, if it's just some idiot on the internet screaming into the void, well, let him, like,
And-
mute him. Like, that's what I'm saying. These people only have as much power as you give them. JDA is the perfect example. Stop giving this guy any airtime. Mute
No,
him,
don't give me
block
shit
him,
on
do
JDA.
whatever. Like, stop making him pop up on your fucking feed. Not you, not anyone here, but I'm just saying in general, people like, and people can also evolve and realize they did something
Mhm.
wrong. And by just like, they say one wrong thing and it's reactionary and they're pissed about something, it could lead to something that's even worse. I mean,
Even in the conversation where people disagree, somebody may be like, you know what? All these logical points that have been told to me over the past 2 hours, I've now come to realize I may have been wrong about a couple of things. But what I was going to say, though, is that it's important that we not do the same thing that has been like what Brahma was talking about the past 10 years. We need to be better than that, to tie it back into a topic from earlier.
yeah.
We need to be better than that, and like legitimately better. We need to hold
Yeah.
a higher standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something
Dare I
that I've
say,
argued.
have integrity.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the things I've argued for a long time. And that's one of the and like JDA is like, I'm going to bring this up now. JDA is a prime example of that. Like, I have a huge issue with him. He has
John Delarose.
yes, John Delarose is a guy that is involved in Fandom Pulse, and Fandom Pulse is also very much involved with John F. Trent. John F. Trent is the runner of Fandom Pulse for most things. My problem is John Delarose is a nut job who has a lot of problems. He has a lot of issues, and he's used. And I called him out. I called him out on Twitter specifically for the fact that he was using the Fandom Pulse account to push his own agenda. And I was like, this is fucked up. You can't do this. And I literally called them out on stream. I've called them out on this show. Is like, no, why are we fighting amongst each other? We have way bigger dragons to slay. This is dumb. This is stupid. And I've had major issues with JDA because of that kind of situation, because I'm like, dude, I'm like, no. And even Fandom Pulse has drastically reduced the amount of articles that JDA writes now because of all of that bullshit and because he's gone completely and totally insane. And I agree.
Well,
Because
it's the same thing that happened at Bounding.
yeah, and it was very similar. And it was one of those things. It was like I called Fandom Pulse out because of like some bullshit. Like during the D&D stuff, it was like they tried making this fucking bullshit argument, and they were trying to like what the headline was. The JDA, you know, the Dungeons and Dragons granddaughter calls out her dad as sexist, and I'm like, this is the most bullshit fucking argument ever, because that's not what she said. If you actually read her entire argument, it's like that's not what she said at all. And I have a real problem with those guys doing that kind of stuff, and I've called them out for that, literally publicly, for that kind of nonsense, because I'm like, this doesn't work. You can't do this with what you're trying to do, and it's a real problem. And so, yeah, I completely agree with that. JDA has lost his fucking mind, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember where we were right before that, but I think what I was going to say is that I think you could argue that you buying a game or not buying a game would affect the people below, you know, these art directors before them. A lot of times, especially like CEOs and stuff, those people don't generally, a lot of times aren't taking their cuts until.
And that's the saddest part. That's the saddest part, because those people should be the ones losing their jobs. And when we see these studios shut down, we do see a lot of those kind of purges. But unfortunately, yeah, a lot of, it's just like in Hollywood. Like we've got the blue collar workers that make that make the sets and make the lighting and everything else. Like those guys, it's not their fault that this shit is fucking sideways. And
that's what I'm saying, Jesse. That's what
been
I'm
the whole
telling
point
you
all night.
is that you can't, like, just because one asshat has an opinion that you don't like,
but
doesn't mean you jeopardize the rest of like that. That's what I'm saying is when when you think like that, you are jeopardizing the actual blue collar working person more than you are that other person.
I'm sorry that's the way things end up working out. It sucks. But when you have bad leadership, anybody that's ever worked in a corporation of any time knows that if you have bad leadership, you are going to end up having shitty products and end up having things fail. And a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And it's because of leadership. It has nothing to do with the individual employee. It has to do with leadership. And I'm sorry.
I disagree with that, though, because, I mean, in the Army, the way I've already explained it, right, you have the lieutenants, they get their orders from headquarters, whatever. They come to the platoon and they're like, hey, we're supposed to go from A to B. And then it's the NCOs who actually get that shit to work, to make it actually happen. Leadership, garbage.
And here's the problem.
And the enlisted are the ones that actually get the job done, i.e. the quality product.
Well, we don't have those enlisted. We don't have those people that are willing to push back and stop this kind of stuff.
It's not about pushing back. It's about figuring out
how about doing your job.
Yeah, how to
sometimes you just go to work
the goals
to work.
that were given to you.
Yeah, that's why I think rational people, like people who are like, I need to take care of my family, who aren't crazy leftists, they don't approach everything as some activist thing, and they don't need to, because like when you rock the boat like that, you risk taking yourself out of that job because they don't want that.
It's like Relisa McCracken said a little ways ago in the chat. I'm in the same boat as Brahma. I think I'm one of only two conservatives on my team. I keep my mouth shut, even though my coworkers don't. I'm there to do my job, not to make friends. Sometimes you just have a job where you have to do your job.
Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah.
It's been very popular for the past 10 to 12 years for the left to be very outspoken and the right to keep their noses down.
Remember when it was
That's kind of the way it is in this country at the moment. I mean, it's turning around. It may turn around a lot. I mean, you don't get yelled at for wearing a red hat anymore by most normal people, but that's not what the case has been for 10 to 12 years.
Were you going to say, Static?
Do you remember when it was normal to not want to talk about politics at work?
Oh, yes. God, I missed that. Okay, but I will.
And that was before streaming, when we used to have a TV show to talk about every Monday or every Tuesday or every Wednesday. but we
But
got away from that.
I've also argued a million times before. I've argued this a million times in my videos. I've argued this a million times in my live streams. Is the biggest mistake that the world ever made was listening to the bitch, and it is a bitch. She's a bitch. She's a female. That said we shouldn't talk about religion and politics in pop in respectable whatever. No. We should talk about those things. We should talk about religion.
Well, those used to be the common rules of courtesy. You don't bring up religion or politics at the dinner table. Used to be the common rules of courtesy.
Well,
right, but it's always been bullshit and has never caused anything but problems. I hate that quote unquote rule.
As we all know, the one thing that
bullshit.
brings people together is when you talk about politics and religion. You really want to bring the table together?
I
That's
don't
what we
want to
wanna
bring the
focus
table
on.
together. As a Christian, I don't want to bring the table together. I don't want that. I want you all to go, no, this is fucked up. This is wrong. I'm sorry. Having sex with underage children or having, which Kingdom of Deliverance,
I think that goes beyond just politics and Christianity. That's a morality thing. No one, whether they're atheist, Christian, whatever, if they are morally good, they're not going to be on the side of child raping.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's one of those situations where I haven't seen enough people speak out against it to go, yeah, okay.
So
yeah.
then they're for it.
Well, so that's that's you. What is that called? Regardless, just because someone doesn't speak up against it doesn't mean that they're for it. Like, and quite honestly, I think,
And yeah,
I
agree with you on that 100%.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on that people are labeled as a groomer or whatever, and it's a word that has unfortunately just lost its meaning. Like pedo, like all this other stuff. People they throw that word around because someone did something they didn't like, or they happened to look at someone that was a woman once. But again, I'm not diminishing anything that may have actually happened anywhere. But what I mean is there's just almost everyone I know, even the craziest leftist, is against that shit. And if you're sitting here saying, oh no, all these progressive, they want to groom your kids and they want to rape them. Fuck, what?
And that's why I always talk about cultists versus leftists, right? There's a difference between the cultists versus the leftists. And there really is a difference. And unfortunately, most people don't get the difference. And it's sad
I think there's a
because-
difference between liberals and leftists.
Yeah.
Well,
The
yeah,
leftists
yeah,
are the
yeah.
cultists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Grant Gregory, how you doing, sir? For the 5 Australian pesos. Thank you so much. I tune in to see Nerd yelling at the void, Brahma yelling at Nerd, and Mad making a joke that no one heard. So I couldn't make it. Sorry I couldn't make it, Shags. I sent you a DM. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. It's okay.
He
I
made
know
it
you-
rhyme.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go brap at the end of it.
Rap.
Okay.
We're
it's-
almost at 3 hours. We should probably get them moving.
Damn, Brahma. I guess this is now the
No.
Shags Brahma channel. Just,
Brahma is right. Brahma is right.
no, but for
Brahma
real, is that
is
going to
right.
happen? Because it's going to take me 30
No, I'm
minutes
fine
to bundle
going
up and go
longer,
smoke.
but typically
No,
this is when Shag starts getting his seizures if we go later. So we gotta take care of
It's
that.
true.
Caesars? Oh,
Seizures.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes, I do have seizures, unfortunately. I've got them under control as far as I know.
Good.
I mean, it's like I'm kind of like an alcoholic, but with seizures, like it's never fully gone. Like I'll always live with it, but just like Brahma,
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think if I honestly like talking about stuff like this, and I would do it regularly. I mean, you guys have seen me argue with people on TikTok. There's a lot of stuff that we talked about tonight that I think people need to talk about more regularly. Like it's Jesse, like I didn't mean to like pick on you. If it was Matt, I would have done the same thing. If it was Riken or Static, like I would have done it. I firmly believe that talking through things and asking questions, even if it is a little bit of devil's advocacy, like it helps people work through things. I don't expect anyone to change their mind. but I expect people to at least like listen and be open to the idea that they might not have it all together. And maybe a year down the road, you might think, oh, like maybe Shags was onto something or whatever, or someone on the panel was, or someone in the audience heard something and was like, oh, actually, you know what? Like Jesse made a good point, or Shags made a good point, or whatever. That's the point of keeping dialogue open, because someone might have an aha moment at some point. Because at the end of the day, I believe that if I'm trying to make culture better and that I want people to be more accepting, well, then I need to be the example for that. Same thing, going back, bringing it full circle to something like the Smash JT stuff. If he wants to actually change the culture behind game journalism, he needs to be the example of that and not make that mistake. And there's, all around great examples. If we want better communication, we need to be the better communicators, et cetera, and so on. It's just what we got to do. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. We all know that. But it's not easy. It is work. It is my TikTok debates. They might as well be like me going to the gym. It's mental gymnastics that I have to play with myself and with other people just to stay calm for like an hour sometimes. So that's the whole theory behind this. Static, thank you for joining us tonight. And Riken, I know it was a lot of like chaos, but I think that's part of the enjoyment. And I don't know what this reboot of this whole like show is, but like so far I'm having fun with these. Like it's just kind of a stream of consciousness. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. But if you guys want to plug anything you guys got going on or have any final thoughts or comments, please, feel free.
In the end, it's all gay.
Yes, this is true. Riken.
No, I think this is a good conversation. I like having these kind of conversations. I hope to do more of these. Thank you for continuously having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We like having you. Did you guys want to plug anything? You guys got anything coming up that you're doing?
Yeah. Go check out my channel, Static2020. Tomorrow night, we've got the weekend pregame. We're going to be talking about the biggest conservative whore out there, Elon Musk.
Yes. So. Nice. Cool. Riken, you got anything coming up that you want to plug?
Just continuing my playthrough of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. When Monster Hunter Wilds comes out next week, I'm going to be playing a lot of that. And
Nice.
that's probably about it.
Cool. Over on Rumble?
Yes, over on Rumble.
Yep. Rumble.com. Riken Knight. Just
Yep.
Okay.
As it is right there. Yep.
Sweet. Jesse, what do you got coming up?
Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for the morning prep. I'll go through all the wonderful pop culture and nerd and news stories, gaming, all that kind of stuff going on. And tomorrow night we've got Cyberpunk Edgerunners with Sunker Maiden, which is great. We're going through and trying to review a show that I love the living fuck out of, and Sunker just keeps trying to destroy. Oh my god! But I love Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I think it's a great show. And we had a great time going through it. We're going to do Marvel's Daredevil Born Again after that, which is another one of those ones that I am cautiously optimistic about. I think it actually will end up being good. And so we're going on with that. So yeah, the Thursday morning prep, Friday, 5 of the Fridays, all that kind of stuff. I have a funeral that unfortunately I have to live stream on Friday. So Friday for 5 of the Fridays, I'll end up being a little bit later for all that kind of stuff. But other than that, yeah, fuck, I love these conversations. It's so much fun to fucking dig it. It's so much fun to dig at Shags and have these great conversations. So it's so much fun. I love it. I absolutely love it. So thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
But yeah.
Brahma, what do you got coming up?
Tomorrow night I've got a very busy night. I will be doing a watch along live stream on my channel for the Team USA versus Team Canada championship for the Four Nations face-off hockey game or hockey championship. And then I will be on comics as usual. Friday night I'll be on Ascend and Art with Little Chad and Slender Dad and probably Mad. I'm the only one that doesn't end in ad there, so. Saturday we'll be doing bourbon and boarding on my channel. where we talk about hockey, the week in hockey, and have a few drinks. Probably not this sad, pathetic bottle that has been ruined, but
Oh my God, let it go.
no.
It was barely $100.
Do you know how hard this bottle is to find?
Yeah, it's pretty like
I've had
Barely
2 bottles of this in the last 4 years in my possession. This was supposed to be a fun opening tonight. Sunday morning is my kind of flagship show. It's the bullpen, where I do talk a lot of politics with little Chad. He'll be out of town for the next 2 weeks, so we got some special guests like Mad Cheesemo and Slender Dad, and probably Carrie Smith this weekend, and maybe Michelle from Force of Light Entertainment this weekend or next weekend. So
nice.
be fun.
Mad, what do you got? Oh, before I forget, Release McCracken found this footage of this shill here.
I wish only I
Fucking
wish
guy.
I had that much. I wish I had that kind of access. I wish I had that kind of access. For the
Can't
love of
believe
God.
he's talking about like not
Hey,
shilling for companies.
all
Here he
I
is.
ever want to, the only thing I ever want to shill is like the fact that I still have an Aunt Jemima bottle.
I think they brought her
This
back.
is my Aunt Jemima bottle on the
It's not rare
background.
anymore.
Of my,
No, they brought her
it's
back.
not. It may be not. No, they didn't bring her back. Unfortunately,
I'm pretty sure they just did.
no, they didn't.
Anyways,
There's
Matt, what do you got coming up?
executive
Either
order.
way, this is from beyond
Executive
all
order.
of that. So, yeah, Aunt Jemima.
Well, for me, Tuesday nights at 8:30 Central, we are doing Matapap, where we break down a story. We have a great time. Quarter Black stood me up once again. On Tuesday, we'll see if he'll come on this next Tuesday. If not, I already have his replacements. They're not as well known, not as funny to the masses, but they're dependable. I'm like, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Make sure you do that. I have a new channel. It's Mad's new channel. Just at Mad's new channel. You can find me on YouTube. Subscribe. It's embarrassing. I have less than 50, but I'm one of the most, and this is a fact. And I'm gonna quote people on this one. People have said this: the most talented YouTuber on
He's
YouTube.
the YouTuber's YouTuber, man.
I am the YouTuber's YouTuber, and it'd be nice that if my numbers could match the quality that I provide, not in the videos or the editing or really in the subjects, but just my presence. Really is what I'm saying. Oh, last thing. Convictions are more dangerous of truth than lies. Friedrich Nietzsche. There's a little thing to remember.
Yes. Weasel for $5 to bring up a final super chat. Thanks, man. Says, is Jesse a pirate? Because his hairline looks like an island treasure map. Hail the panel, hail chat. Keep it up, gents. This is a blast. Thanks, man. Well, listen. This week, I'm trying to do my best Jesse impression, but I couldn't. I'm actually going to be on the Salty Nerd podcast on Saturday. So 10 p.m. Pacific. I'll be hanging out with those guys. Love the Salty Nerd guys. They're awesome. So check us out then. And then what else I got? Nothing really. Come hang out in Discord. We're playing games.
You have a
That's kind of
Discord?
where I talk. Yeah, I have a Discord.
Yeah, he's got a Discord.
First I'm hearing of it. Definitely never had an invite.
Yeah, sure. I think you're in it, actually.
Oh, am I?
Pretty sure you're in
So,
it.
but yeah, I mean, I really think thanks Camelot for the raid again. I know you're not here, but appreciate it. He's killing it. Obviously, anyone who joined, think about subscribing. A lot of what I do is what I did tonight, just chatting, kind of pushing back against a lot of people, just because I find it fun to some degree, and I also want to learn. I am someone who wants to get in on new ideas, learn about things, and also test people. I have a lot of good friends around this space, and I think in some ways want to be the one that challenges them to be a little bit better, because I think some people have become complacent, and I think that they need a little bit more, and honest good feedback, and it's never malicious. I really want people to succeed and do better. So if you kind of like what you saw tonight, it's kind of what I do all the time. Please think about subscribing, join Discord. We are here every Wednesday night, starting pretty much at 9:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. that's going to be it for me tonight and for all of us here. Anyone have any final thoughts? Anything?
Silver had a question. Salty Nerd Podcast is salty with just the S, not salty like Salty the singing hymn book.
Yes, salty as in like salt.
Salty Nerd Podcast.
Yeah, the Salty New Nerd Podcast. Yep. Those guys are great. I'll put a link in my Discord and I'll tweet out the link once we're going live. So thank you guys so much.
Bible study Sundays, 2 p.m.
Peace out. Love y'all. See you guys next time.
Night.
Bye-bye.
I like to put stuff online.